Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However, you happen to be watching or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where this week it seems that all the news has been revealed, all the gaming heads have spoken, so now it's our turn. Now it's time to decide, how all this went down this last couple of weeks, right? All the what do you call it? The Xboxmas, the gaming Christmas, as it were. I am your host, Mr. TKO Asante, Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, everywhere you want to have gaming conversations with me. As you can see, unfortunately, this week I am not joined by my slanderous co-host, Mr. Everborn Saga. He has some life concerns, and he had to, take a quick break this week to go take care of that. He might be listening, so if you're out there, shout out to you, good sir. Hope all is well. We will talk soon. I was also going to be joined by one Ham Solo, but unfortunately, he recently shared with me some news that he's also going through some things that unfortunately last minute happened that he couldn't join us. But hey, the show must go on. And boy, what a great feeling I was able to secure. He didn't even know that these other guests weren't going to be here, but he's still here. He's going to ride with me today. I appreciate it. Mr. Umbra, Infinite Umbra, how goes it, good sir?
It goes good, my brother. Look at God, right? Look at God. All of
Put
this
the
just
men
happened.
together.
Yeah, it just happened to fall into place.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
Indeed,
just
indeed.
it's a blessing. It's a blessing. What's up,
Indeed,
brother?
indeed. So yeah, no, man, all is well. All is well. We're having a good time. Like the discourse around gaming the last couple of weeks has been very interesting. I've been enjoying all the conversations. Shout out to you and your crew on your podcast yesterday. I was listening in intently. Very, very cool conversation. So shout out to Risk It and the rest of the crew out there. So it was a real cool conversation. If y'all missed it, I will make sure I add Umbra's information into the show notes. You can follow that trail and catch that show. Very, very interesting conversation. What I would consider the hardcore Xbox conversation, the hardcore fan base, and what they thought of the show. But we will talk about more of that. But before we get into it, and there's a lot to get into, so we're not going to belabor the point too much, but let's get started here, and I will ask you, Mr. Umbra, what have you been playing the last couple of weeks, whether old or new? What's been keeping you busy?
I've been playing a bunch of things. That's the interesting part. Like I always hear the conversation around, oh, Xbox has no games, but all I've been doing is trying to get through this backlog. It's insane.
Mm.
So I've recently played through a bunch of games. Obviously, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge. Played through that twice now with a squad of 6. Extremely fun, but buggy. I'm sure those who played it have seen, but you turn invisible.
You know what? I will switch to that right now. Forgive me. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
there
go.
you
Oh,
go. Please
perfect. Look at
continue.
that.
Yes.
In sync.
There you
And
go.
with my favorite turtle, Raphael. But yeah.
And with
So
Raphael, of course.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so I've been playing that. I played Chorus through Cloud, interestingly, and it's been
Nice. Yeah.
pretty
How was that?
flawless.
How's that been treating you?
Almost flawless. It's only been a few times where it had to, like, you could see it like pixelating and such like that. But it's working really nice, man. I've been playing the hell out of some games. Like my score right now, I'm number 1, and I got some good achievement hunters. I'm like 25,000.
I know,
plus.
brother. I know because I check and I'm a fair weather kind of dude because I play on
Yeah.
multiple platforms. So
Right.
I don't always be checking my numbers like that. But every time I'm on Xbox, I'm like, Umbra's out here, man. Them numbers is astronomical over here. What's going on?
I'm out here. I'm out here.
He's out here writing manuals on games over here. What's going down?
Yeah, man. I've been a long time achievement hunter personally, and it's just been a while. But I kind of got off of doing that, but just getting back on it now. Really, I'm enjoying gaming, man. Just really enjoying it.
You and the mag need to trade places. You need to trade like some stories because that man is also one of those completionists. Like every game he plays, he has to hit 100 out of 100 before he moves on.
Oh,
Amazing.
Man.
Like some people, I can't handle that. That's. I enjoy the story. I'll play everything I can, but once I'm done, I kind of want to put it away. I may come back to get some of the achievements and some of the collectibles and whatnot if I really enjoyed the game. I'm looking at you like Miles Morales, things like that.
Right.
But by and large, when I'm done, I'm moving on.
No,
those who can go in and 100% everything, I got respect for y'all. That's
it's
amazing.
tough.
That's great.
Some games that makes it pretty much impossible. I don't want to say impossible. It makes it feel like it's
difficult.
Impossible.
Yeah,
like
very difficult.
Like Gears, for instance. Like you got to get the seriously like 2.0s and 3.0s and all. That's like, man, that's a lot of dedication to get that. So I definitely feel what you're saying. Some games I'll be like, that's good enough.
So
Damn.
shout out to the chat, all the great people pulling up already. I already see this, even though the slander is not in our panel this week, the slander is already on display in the chat. Mr. Slow-Mo Backslap here asking, did this past week kill Everborn? No. The man is, there's nothing wrong with Mr. Everborn Saga. He's out there. There's some things he's doing in his personal that he's trying to be serious for this week. So, we let him off the hook. He's good. He's probably listening in right now. So keep your slander to a maximum. I'm sure he's cursing he's cursing his screen right now. It's all good. It's all good. I see a bunch of folks already pulling in here. Welcome. Thank you guys. I see J-Rock. I see Polly, Bob, a bunch of folks in here. We appreciate you. Please hit the like button if you haven't done so. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Our little channel is actually heading pretty good in the right direction. We're almost at 600 subscribers, trying to head to 1,000 by the end of this year. Looks like I might do that. So with y'all help, I appreciate it. We'll get there. But all right, so you played this 6-player TMNT. You got some bugs, but what do you think about the length of play? Because I've heard some people complaining about, it's only like an hour or 2 hours at most, and that was a bit of a drag. What are your opinions on that?
It is pretty short. Like I think the maximum is like 2 hours, maybe 3. But I think that lends itself because it got it has achievements and it has abilities, not abilities, but I'm fumbling the word, but you can build your characters up, so you can get like different skills,
skill progression, and all
exactly.
Of this. Yeah.
So because of that, and unlocking characters like Casey Jones,
I hope you're not looking at the screen. Palace Guard is like out there, bro. What did you do?
I don't know. I don't know what I did to Palace Guard, but screw you too. No, but seriously, but no, I think that's my buddy. I don't know his name on here, but I didn't know that was his name. But yeah, no, like it is pretty short, but it lends itself to replayability. So that's the cool thing about it. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I think it was.
Yeah, me too. I've been playing with some community members. Like this is me by myself, but I had a session with Boom, which was real cool, real fun. I think we had like 3-4 people in there. I've also played with. Remember V2 It's Time? He's always in the chat.
Yeah.
Played with him a couple of hours, like what was it, yesterday? Real good time, man. It obviously lends that nostalgia, brings you back. It's real fun. It's real fun. I'm enjoying myself.
I was at a bunch of times. I was playing with the guys, and I was like, shell shock.
Exactly. My toe and all of that.
Right, my toe. That's what I forgot about that one.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I love this game. It's so much fun, and I think the upgrades, the modernizations that they've done, although not like drastic, it does really lend itself well to this world. Like, they modernized it just enough, put just enough goodness in it to now where it's more about your skill rather than how many quarters you're gonna throw at it. You know what I mean? Because this was a quarter muncher from way back. But
no question.
It looks like they've removed that aspect of it while still retaining the nostalgic feel of it. I'm really enjoying it. I think I've played through it like twice now, like with buddies, by myself. It's just really, really a good time. I'm enjoying it a lot.
It's like you said too, that just the nostalgia that it brings back. Just I don't know. It's unmatched, really. It's like, and that's why I see why Nintendo fans love Nintendo the way they do. It is what it is. Nostalgia is something else.
Yeah, and to be clear, it's not like I even need nostalgia for this game, because I end up playing the old versions of this game at least 2-3 times a year, because you could always just replay it. Like it's easily playable on many systems. So these games are still a mainstay in my household. This was actually just a good excuse to introduce them to my kids, who are now like huge Pizza Time fans. They're nice. All about it now. So yeah, this is just a ploy to indoctrinate the youth. That's what I'm doing with this thing.
There you go. Brainwash them into this.
Oh, my daughter is a full out gamer at this point. She's down. She's nice. waiting for she's waiting for me to tell her she's a good girl, so I can buy her the full version of what is it, Kirby, because the new Kirby game has a demo. Yeah. She's played that thing like 18 times. She wants the full game.
Nice. I thought I remember you talking about how she played on your what was that? Your
yes, the Series S with the little X screen and the Steam Deck. Whenever she gets it, I can't get it back from her. That's right. I
remember you talking about
indeed,
that last time.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good, man.
I'm indoctrinating the youth. It's a beautiful thing,
Let it be this type of indoctrination, if that's the case.
Indeed.
By the way,
so besides this, anything new?
Well, I'm going to read what Pyro said. Pyro said the
Mhm.
game that it's based off, the arcade cabinet it's based off, was only like 90 to 100 minutes playtime anyway.
True. Yes, that is very true. And they made it like super difficult so that you would, you know,
Right.
it was always on hard. Like
Pretty
in these
much.
the MAME emulators, you can like put the original code in it, and then it'll show you how they were programmed by default. They were on like super max difficulty at all times to make
Oh,
sure that you
wow.
would never win. That's right. So you
Yeah.
can go into the back and tweak it down or whatever. But yeah, it's
Nice.
very interesting, you know. But yeah, no, this is definitely through and through like a party game. I really hope they do some. I hope they do some DLC. You know, maybe add a few more playable characters. You know,
Yeah.
add a few more story missions. That'd be really awesome. You know.
Yeah, I think they will. And looking at the past, like when they did what's the word I'm looking for? Streets of Rage 4.
Streets
They
of Rage 4. Yes.
They
Yeah. Same
absolutely
team.
added DLC, so I can see them doing that with this.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such a great homage to the original classic. So
It is.
I'm there with you. So
Also, they
you've
bring
been playing this
Game Pass too, being that's a plus as well. So
Yeah. Oh, that see, and we're gonna double back to this conversation in a little bit because I personally think this news belonged on the main stage, but we'll move on and get back to that one. I think that's one of the black marks against this show, but that's a conversation to come.
Yeah.
But okay, so you've been playing Chorus, you've been using the cloud to get that done, which is really cool, by the way. You know, I've been trying games that normally I don't think would be cloud capable, and I've been trying it on there, and I'm surprised at how well it runs in the cloud. So Chorus is one of those good ones, huh? You said you had minimal dips and minimal lag issues running on there.
Yeah, just very minimal. It's like,
Okay.
and it's only when
Like, can you play the whole game and not even worry about it, like cloud wise, like in your experience so far?
in my experience, yeah. And I also tried another
awesome.
game. It was like it was way less as far as as what it required, I guess, off the stream. But what was that? It's called Disc Room by.
Oh yeah, I've seen
you've
the
seen
cover
that, right?
art. Yeah, I've seen the cover art. Yeah,
I played a bit of that. Got a bunch of achievements. I beat it actually on it through cloud.
this
And-
man out here,
Yeah.
this man, yeah, you know,
Yeah,
he doesn't touch games, he plays games. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Yeah, and it was flawless from beginning to end, no issues,
Cool.
not one.
You
But
know.
I think Core's being like much more demanding. Maybe that's what caused a bit of it. But other than that, it's like very few and far between. And I think obviously it depends on your internet connection, I guess. So I got a pretty strong.
Yep.
So.
Yep. You know what I find so interesting on the topic of cloud gaming? It's hilarious. They give you, like, if you want to test it out, they give you the best test cases possible. You can have the 2D beat 'em up flat, very easy, anybody can pick up and play and it'll run smooth as butter. Or you can play flight sim. Like on the cloud, you know what I mean? Like whatever you want. And either way, I've tried flight sim on there. It's actually unusually pretty responsive. I'm like, man,
Nice.
this is pretty cool, Although flight sim, I think I said this on another show. Flight sim has a weird issue where you're playing it in the cloud, so you'd think that hey, there's a new update or there's a new something in the store that I want to go get. It should just be like boom available because it's from the cloud to the cloud, but it still downloads in the cloud.
Oh, that's weird.
Right? It's still like you see it going, and it's in the cloud. I'm just like, what are you downloading to yourself? That makes no sense. But okay, they need to fix that. But yeah, it's really cool that they are really like. It seems that they're confident enough to where they're giving you multiple test cases on both drastic sides of it.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
if you're able to play either, then you're good. And I test it pretty frequently. I've enjoyed it pretty a lot.
I'm going to try it
the
more.
game that I think there should be more games now that they're actually they're talking about allowing you to put games in there, play games from there that you don't necessarily have to have in Game Pass. That'll open things up like drastically. I'm looking forward to that. As long as you own the game, you can just play it out there without even necessarily being associated with Game Pass. That to me is the ultimate form of this online subscription
I
stuff.
agree. So a question with the flight sim, how much memory does it take to download that to the console? It's got to be like 100 plus, right?
Yeah, I have it on my expansion card, and I move it between my Series S and X because you don't want to re-download that. On PC, it's like a whole day affair. like it's multiple downloads. You at least on console, you download it and you're done, and then you got to contend with whatever you have to update from the marketplace, because the store itself in the game has a marketplace, right? But on PC, you download the game, then you update the game. Downloading the game is like a couple hours, and I have a gigabit connection, pretty stable connection. Couple hours to download the game because it's a huge game, right? And then it has to update the game. That takes a couple of hours, and then you have to go into the Play Store, the market, and then download all the updated airports. Because for those who don't know, they use online telemetry, the online maps that almost Google Maps like, to basically feed all of the maps of this game. But because they do that, some of the maps seem flat and weird. They use AI to kind of lift the buildings and make it look right. But still, you can always tell when it's AI that has done it. It looks good from afar, but as you get closer, it kind of loses its thing. So they've been going in and going to popular airports and literally rebuilding the airports properly, so it looks beautiful, right? Yeah. And every few months or so, oh, now we have the Australian maps available. Oh, now we have this airport, that airport. But those have to be downloaded from the marketplace. And those are also heavy, big old downloads, right? So this game will probably fit on that expansion card and just like fill it up completely, a 512 card or terabyte. Like at some point, it will just be the whole card. You'll buy the game on the card. Here you go. That's it.
That's the impressive thing about the whole cloud situation. So I haven't played Flight Sim yet, so I know that I can just go right to that and play that. Because the only thing that has me interested right now is them putting the Pelican off Halo in it. I was like, okay, I'll play it now.
Yes. It was a very awesome move on their part doing that, by the way. I've been looking forward to play. I've been, and those who watch this show know, I've been calling for them to do this cross-pollination stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
And I see you in the chat there, PixelBitG. Where is my Halo TV show Spartans? Where are they in Halo Infinite? Where are the suits?
Yeah.
Huh? Where are they? At least we have Flight Sim out here going, oh yeah, you get planes in in Halo. Let's put one of the Halo Pelicans in the game. That's how you do it, right? I saw somebody in the community on Twitter this today posting a Doom skin for Halo Infinite. Like they mocked it up themselves.
Oh yeah.
Very awesome idea. Like one of the season pass rewards kind of thing. Very cool idea. I hope Microsoft is watching, because they need to be putting a lot more effort into cross-pollinating. There's a benefit to owning all of these studios.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't do that. It makes perfect sense.
It's surprising to me.
Yeah, it's like when they talk about having a battle, like a Smash Brothers type game.
Exactly, and it doesn't have to be cute, right?
Exactly.
You have serious characters. You have serious IP. It could be a serious multi-world, game where, you can put a story to it, and it doesn't have to be goofy. It could just be somehow, some way, all these IPs are in one world. You could make it work. Right. Not too many people have ever tried that. They always do it in the goofy way because, Smash Bros is out here and is making money. So they feel like that's the de facto. You could make new things. You could do a serious, maybe an Unreal, what do you call it? An Unreal Tournament type situation. First person shooter, all of the characters.
Yep.
Hey, it'd be awesome, But let us move on. As you guys can see, I'm replaying Hollow Knight, because I have had this game on every platform possible and I haven't beaten it yet. And Silksong is coming soon. I've been waiting for it to come. It's coming soon. Now, based off of what Microsoft said, all the stuff shown was from 12 months. So presumably Silksong is coming in 12 months. I might be presuming too much, but hey,
in a minute. But I'm excited for that, man. And it's Hollow Knight is one of my all-time favorites right now, I would say, out of any type of Metroidvania style game.
Yes,
it's a masterpiece.
This is pinnacle triple. I call this triple I, top tier indie. This is amazing.
I like that. Yes. Triple I. I'm gonna have to use that. I'm feeling that.
This is top tier indie, 100%. I'm down. I'm 100% in agreement. I love this game, and oddly enough, I have it on every damn platform possible. I don't know how the hell that happened. Play it on PS5. Play it on the Xbox. I have, and obviously there are no cross saves, so I have different characters at different tiers of the game in every place. And this, I think, this right here is a Steam Deck run, because you got to play it on the Steam Deck. Nice. I'm playing it there. Very awesome. If you haven't played it, to get ready for Silksong, you should definitely play this game. It is absolutely fantastic. It is pinnacle independent development. and absolutely beautiful. But okay,
Nice.
let us
Pixel
move
Bit
on.
G, by the way, said
Mhm.
you stole that from the Rise developers.
The Rise directors,
Developers rather. Yeah, so he claims that you took the triple I from them. Is that true?
As in Rise, Son of Rome.
I don't know.
No, you can't tell me that anything that Crisis makes is indie. Get out of here with that. I refuse that remark, sir. If it's Rise, Son of Rome, then heck no. They are Crisis, the team that made a game that every PC was benchmarked against in the 90s and in the early 2000s. And for Rise, Son of Rome, they were backed by Microsoft. There is no I in there anywhere, but okay.
You said there's no I in it.
No indie in that. That is corporate. That is corporate. But okay. Although I enjoyed those games, and I'm actually hoping for a Rise Part 2. Let us hope. But anyway, so we have a lot to cover as far as stories are concerned. So let's switch over to the stories. I won't touch too long on it because we did already talk about everything up to the Xbox show, but we didn't talk with you about it. So let me get your broad sense before we even get into it. Let me get your broad sense of these shows, right? I'm sure you're an Xbox fan, a gaming fan like I am. I'm sure E3 is your gaming Christmas.
Absolutely.
And by the way, I'm re-wearing my E3 garb right now.
There you go.
Because last time when we were doing the show, it was full screen and y'all didn't get to see me in my glorious onesie, Xbox onesie. So
regalia.
I'm redoing it for the public. You see, this is what I'm doing. But okay.
Glorious regalia. Yes.
That's right, my regalia, indeed. It's got pockets big enough to fit controllers. It's crazy. Anyway.
Big enough to fit the PS5 in, huh?
Almost big enough to fit the PS5. That'd be crazy, but
I'm looking at this giant hunk machine right next to me.
Clearly, we all agree that E3 as it was the pinnacle. We all agree that. If you're listening to this show, if you're watching this, you're definitely probably in agreement with us that E3 was the pinnacle, and you wanted to go, right? We all wanted to go. Absolutely. And now, obviously, through both, we do forget, but E3 was going through some downward spirals even before the pandemic hit. And it seems that the pandemic was the nail in its coffin. And, we now see the unfortunate history of where we are now. They do say they're coming back, but right now, as you guys were pointing out on your show yesterday, very, very expertly, they are now these companies are now in a place where they've had to fulfill roles to be media managers and be able to put on shows themselves that they can do quite cheaply, right? So the idea that we'll get back to that holy grail of E3 how it used to be, I don't foresee that being really a factor in the equation at this point. But what do you think of the attempt at an E3 like this year compared to the years prior?
I mean, it's going to be a shadow of itself, probably, right? And I think they're still going to have to follow certain protocols because of the pandemic and obviously the C word. I don't want to repeat it on here just in case.
Yeah.
But all of that's going to factor into it, unfortunately. But man, I've been a long time fan of E3. It's like you said, it's the Christmas for us. So I remember when people were like so anti E3 at a point because Sony left. So all of a sudden, we don't need E3 anymore. I'm like, well. Yep. Screw you. I still want it.
Enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. I don't care about Sony not being there. Microsoft is there. I care about that. I care about Nintendo being there. I care about, all these other studios at the time, Bethesda, obviously, so on and so forth. So that's major to me. And I've never lost that feeling for E3. I've always been pro E3. So, I think it's a staple in gaming. And it kind of get that feeling too, like we lose too much over time. You lose, be it things or family or whatever, something that matters.
We're getting old, right?
Absolutely. So it's like losing.
We're getting
E3.
old. That's the problem.
It is. That's part of it. It's like, can we stop time for a second? Have the games keep coming while we stop time.
Right? Back when you couldn't join, it was at its pinnacle. Now when you have the capability to possibly join, it's past its prime.
Right. Now I was like, I don't need that anymore.
You know what I mean?
It's like that Toy Story meme where the kid is throwing away the other toy. Like, I don't need you anymore.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
No, I think it still matters. You know what I mean? But the thing is, like we said on the show the other day, is that now these companies we're so far advanced now to where, and because of the pandemic situation, it has forced people to go outside of that that usual box. So now they can
Yep.
do their own thing, or they
Yep.
feel more comfortable doing their own directs and stuff like that. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
changed the landscape. But I hope to one day go to an E3. I don't want it to go
Yeah,
away.
brother. Me too. Me too. I hope that we as the gaming community and the content creator community can meet one day at a conference like this, and capitulate, in person as we should. But you know, with that in mind, right? Then
Yeah.
of course the pandy hit, right? And
Mhm.
the first year was a wash, clearly, and understandably, right?
Right.
And then the years subsequent they've been trying to do better, and it looks like even Keeley's shows and this and that, it looks like they are at the place where they are peak hybrid performance, right? Half online, some people in the audience, things like that. Do you feel like this year's iteration was better than any year prior, or do you think they peaked and they're on a downward spiral? What do you think of this year's attempt?
As far as the showcase and Keeley's
Yeah,
show,
as far as the showcases, because E3 as we know it was always, hey, 2-3 days, all the news crammed into these 2-3 days. You sit in front of your TV. Wife, don't bother me. That whole thing, right? Kids, I'm not here. The whole thing. And now it's like it's spread out. They all decide whenever they choose to announce it. It's just not the same anymore. They're not able to congregate like they used to anymore. But they're trying, right? This year, it seems to me like they actually had a concerted effort to try and bring it together as tightly as possible, right? Obviously, to varying degrees of success. What's your grading of just this year's attempt? And I'm not talking specifically about Summer Game Fest or the Guerrilla Collective or any of that. It's just overall, like, because last year, or no, 2 years ago, to me was dreadful because that whole thing was about 4 or 5 months of dribs and drab information, right? They kind of stretched it out way far. It was just it wasn't great in my opinion. This year, it seems like they've condensed it far more, based on possible feedback they've received as they've been paying attention to the socials. Do you think they were more successful this year than they have been before?
I think this year to me was a little bit of a downer compared to last year. I think last year was stronger overall.
You think
personally.
Last year is when they peaked?
I think last year was the peak, and I say that just because of. Oh, I think though the numbers may have improved this year, so I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it just feels like it's not the case.
We're here about the quality and not the quantity. More people watched it, sure, but in your estimation, it was more of a quality presentation last year than this.
I think so. I think last year was I think it was just more solid overall. And I look at Microsoft's for that reason, because their showcase last year to me was basically at their E3 last year was like a 9.5.
It was a pinnacle. Yeah,
absolutely. This year I gave it a B, and I can see people arguing it being a 7, like a 7 or 7.58, whatever.
Oh, and you bring up a good point. By the way, so when I put this post together for this show, I also posted a poll and said, hey, after seeing all of the first and third parties, how do you grade the rest of 2022 as far as games are concerned? So the poll is up, and I will wait to close it until the end of this show. So far, we have 31 votes, and it's a strong B. We are 55% of the vote going to B. We have 19% between A and 19% between C. So the runner-up for second place, it's either the great show or it was a mid, right? And then D is at the bottom at 6%. Please, if you can, go ahead and when you hit that like button, when you haven't subscribed and you hit the subscribe button, how about you also take a stab at the poll? I want to see what folks think by the end of this show. I actually took another poll right after the show on Twitter, and I think about 5,000, 6,000 people voted in that place, and there it was a strong A and B, like strong. 80% of the voting public was A and B, and even with that in mind, you see Keeley on my screen right now. He did a poll, and let's be honest, let's be clear. His audience tends to be a more PlayStation centric crowd. You're right.
Yep.
So you would think they'd skew on a curve, right? They'd grade on a curve. They gave it strong A and B.
They sure did.
They really did. So by and large, the gaming public really enjoyed this show. We will get to we'll break apart this show and what we thought about it. But in the meantime, hit that vote button. Tell us what you think about it. And there's just so much that has happened between the last time we were on this air and now, that if we miss anything, if you folks are saying, hey, what's going on, what about this conversation, what about that, throw it in the chat, remind us. I will see it, I will bring it forth, and we will have this conversation. For those who weren't here when I explained it, Mr. Everborn Saga this morning has some life things going on. Nothing bad. Just he's got to focus this weekend. So he's off the hook. He's most likely listening in or watching, or he may watch on demand later. Shout out to him. Hope all goes well, and we will see him next week. So don't worry. The slander will be a little bit minimized on the panel. A little bit, but you don't know, because we're not at the end of the show yet. By the end of the show, you might be like, "Yo, Everborn Saga was here." You don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you all can feel free to disagree with us in the chat too, and challenge us. Maybe
I suspect you'll be disagreeing with me a lot today, but we shall see.
Here we go. But I was going to say it's funny because if you look at Keely's polls, if you look at what they gave his show versus what they gave Xbox, it was Microsoft.
Yeah, they even clowned his own show versus the Xbox show, which everyone basically said was great. Which I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting, because some of the shows that I've thought was great in the past haven't gotten such high marks when Keely does his polls. Yeah. So this time it was very interesting to see how the polls fell. But let's start at the beginning. So we were super excited, and again we've gone through this at least on this show. So I will let you touch on the parts that you want to, or we'll move quickly along. Okay. But we first saw a bunch of stuff, obviously, at the Keelys, the Summer Game Fest, right? Street Fighter 6 announcement. We saw very cool showing of Street Fighter 6. By the way, I'm happy that it's back. I'm happy that it's going to be multi-plat. It's good that the gaming community can have all of that together again. I think it's great that it's there. What is your opinion? Are you a fighter?
Oh yeah, I'm a fighter fan.
Flexing the crazy goatee. He's back, with the arms bigger than ever.
Been lifting. Got his little American flag tattoo going. Popping.
You know what I'm saying? That's right. So
pointing to there he goes. Watch. Yeah, he's ready. The only thing I said that I liked, I guess, from what I saw with Street Fighter, and it's the same thing I felt on it. It feels a little slow, like movement wise. You see how they hit?
Yeah. It feels like it's it feels lumbering a little bit, or maybe because it's Guile that you're looking at. And Guile needs because they're not popping. You can tell that it's heavyweights hitting each other.
That's true too. But visually, I love how it looks. Visually, I love the little painterly style. That stuff like that.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, they did a great job in visualizing it, because they went a lot in the art direction last time, right? And now it looks like they've added more realism, but they kept to that art style. And I honestly think that this will be, one of the best Street Fighters out there. This will be one of the best ones, because it's after they've finally realized that great formula visually, and also they've also worked out the gas, games as a service versions, parts of it. They finally worked those logistics as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the output is here. But
it took them to fail with 5 on PlayStation.
It took them to fail a long time to get it to the proper version.
That's my little jab at PlayStation. I had to throw that out there. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, the Wandering Dutch. Welcome, good sir. I see you in the chat. Appreciate you being here, good sir.
What's up, Dutch?
Aliens Dark Descent. What did you think of this?
It's interesting. It's a top-down twin-stick shooter. Looks like, right? But it also looks like it could be RTS. I'm not too sure what it is, to be honest.
So and we're gonna this is gonna be a repeating theme here, because that deserves some righteous smoke, in my humble opinion. We're gonna get to that right now. So you see this trailer, and obviously I'm gonna scrub through it, because I don't know who will and who won't want their trailers to be shown on my air, and I don't want anybody to be in trouble on YouTube. So I will be scrubbing through it. But if you've seen this footage, you'll know that it looks like an action shooter. It looks like, oh my God, it's absolutely awesome. This third person, almost narrative heavy kind of a presentation. But we all know that this is kind of a misnomer. It's kind of a fake out, because let me see, where is it? Yeah, you're about to see it right now, because from this angle, you see it is XCOM-like, right? We don't know if it's stop motion while you're making your decisions, or if it's twin stick shooting, but it's isometric camera, high view,
Yep.
small, almost Diablo-esque in its presentation. At least this one showed that, right? And we're going to keep going through it, but like Midnight Suns doesn't show you any of that at all.
True.
And that's even worse.
Yep.
I kind of feel like they deserve a bit of smoke for that, don't you? They're selling a bad bill of goods on here, right? I understand you want to give people the whiz bang and show them all the great stuff that the potential of the game, but to not show gameplay and to specifically in the Midnight Suns example, it looks like the next version of Avengers game, like third person action game, when it's definitely not that, right?
Yeah.
And
I agree
what is your opinion on that?
I agree with you there, because you're right. They relied on great trailers for both. Because Midnight Suns, it was a solid trailer overall. Get you hyped if you're a comic fan. It got me hyped. I'm a long time comic fan.
Yeah. I will be playing it for sure.
Absolutely. And the same thing with Aliens. That trailer was actually pretty solid if you look just at the CGI part. But seeing the actual action is like, oh wait, so it's not some action, adventure type style game the way it looked like it would be. And even the camera cuts that they did when they showcased the actual gameplay didn't quite tell you anything. And the whole Midnight Suns thing, it's a card battle system and all of that. That's right. It's very different. So they definitely, I think they know that it's a niche, genre. So I think they're trying to kind of play off that a bit.
And shout out to Beast Mode 10. Thank you so much for being here, good sir. He's saying that Midnight Suns is also turn based. Right. And look, there is a preference in the audience for all these genres, because if they didn't like it, they wouldn't exist. So why not be honest with your audience and show us what it looks like?
I agree.
Not everybody will like it, sure, but if you weren't confident in its style, then why would you choose that aesthetic in the first place? Why would you choose that game system in the first place? Only to then hide it from your public. It's just, the whole thing is weird. Like, I personally, I'm looking forward to trying it. I probably will, I will most likely roll off of Midnight Suns because I'm not a real card-based game person myself, but I will try it because, hey, I'm a Marvel zombie from way back. If you slap Marvel on it, I am apt to try, because that means you're going to give me Easter eggs, and I love Easter eggs of Marvel.
Absolutely.
So I will definitely be doing that. But be honest with me, show me, hey, this is what it looks like. You can give me the whiz bang trailer, but then show me at least a minute or like a couple seconds of real gameplay that shows me, hey, this is what it will look like in the moment to moment. And I will thank you for it, because that'll help me making my decision, right? I feel like it's a little bit shady what they're doing right now, and it shouldn't be allowed.
I can agree with you there. And it's just like, it's like you said, be honest with us, because you're honest with us, it goes a long way. I think maybe that's a management type issue. Maybe it's something that PR said, hey, let's do this, because they know they have to get a proper return from Marvel to keep messing with them in the future. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I do want to point out what Pyro said. It was funny.
Yeah, about the Midnight Suns. I see Pyro's message here. He's saying, hey, Midnight Suns at least killed the Spider-Man character exclusive to PlayStation narrative some intellectually challenged fanboys were preaching after the Avengers roadmap.
I just noticed
first and foremost,
the pay station. If you notice
I see what he did there. I see what he did there. He's out there this morning. He woke up in the morning and chose violence. Like, I understand.
No coffee, just violence.
No coffee, straight violence. No, but what I will say to that is, I thought that narrative was already killed when you saw it on Fortnite. It's everywhere. Spider-Man is, right?
You know what? PlayStation guys will come up with anything. Sony allowed them to put it on there. That's why.
So for the record, so that everybody understands, for the record, PlayStation owns the movie rights to Spider-Man, right? Now, in the world we live in, right, and Spider-Man being such a pivotal Marvel character, that means that they and Sony have a very, very kind of mutually beneficial relationship. So it's in their best interest, Disney, to keep Sony happy and vice versa, because they both are stewards of this IP, right? And clearly, and I know Mr. Everborn Saga will disagree with me, so that's why I'm going to say it while he's not here. Sony cannot make a good Spider-Man game, Spider-Man movie without Disney. So it's kind of a tit for tat relationship. Yeah, Everborn doesn't agree with that. He says the money.
I've seen
the money is there, and even if the money's there because it's a great IP and everybody wants to see it, doesn't mean the movies were good. They need Feige for it.
The Ramis, the part 1 and 2. Everything
sure,
else,
yes, those are good. All the rest has been trash. Yes, in my humble opinion. So it's one of those mutually beneficial relationships. So because of that, whenever Sony comes to the table, right, it's not like anybody just coming to the table. It's the company that owns one of your intrinsic IPs that you want to keep working with them on. Yep. So that means they are sweetheart deals by default.
Yep.
That's the reason why Sony seems to have so much clout, because if they want to, they can make Disney's like movie life miserable with Spider-Man, right? And they need to keep that relationship nice and cool. It's business, but there's some of that there too. That's the only reason. And I'm like completely like mesmerized by this footage of Callisto Protocol as a human becomes hamburger meat over here. Like, damn, like amazing. Anyway, but and I'll replay that for those who missed it. That trailer is crazy. Luckily, the visuals will not break our PG-13 mold on this show this morning, because the visuals are definitely rated R. Anyway, so yeah, for those out there with all that narrative with Spider-Man, this and that, it's fine. Eventually Spider-Man will come everywhere. As it's on PC now, it's just a matter of time. But that's a whole different conversation. We will digress from that one. And you tell me, are you a scary game player? Like, does this Callisto Protocol trailer like speak to you?
It speaks to me just because I love the Dead Space games. So I will be I am interested in getting it. I will get it. If it's starting at $70 though, that's going to wait, because I have a staunch anti-$70 game thing, and then I bring it up to people and they're like, wait a minute, you paid this much for your PlayStation and your Xbox though? I'm like, yeah, I know. It doesn't make logical sense, but that'll be the only time that I'll pay that much for those, because I got them like off like scalp prices almost. A little bit more than the retail mock-up.
Sure. No, I feel you.
But the $70 thing, I just think is overly corporate greed. I don't want to feed into that. But Callisto Protocol was the game of the showcase for Keighley's showcase for me. Absolutely. It looks beautiful. That's a strong pick, yeah. And it looks like it's a mature take. It's not meant for kids. It's not by a kid, and it's not for kids. And you can just tell. Like, and you can absolutely bet that all kids are going to be on it and playing it too.
Of course.
They're going to be the ones playing it.
Yeah, I like when the necromancer thing is I killed it.
Yes, for sure. This is the Grand Theft Auto of its new generation, for sure. Definitely.
Exactly.
Yes, but no, it was a strong showing. I don't disagree. It's a strong showing, and it really looks like it's going to give the remake of actual Dead Space a run for its money. It looks like it's moved on from that franchise and done better for it.
It looks like it could be literally part 4. Like even the gun is similar.
And I just saw this. I just noticed this. Notice how the green on the back of the neck there in the video.
Yeah.
Would that be your health meter, just like Dead Space had like the other long one?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I didn't notice that.
See, they're moving forward, right? They're doing interesting things there.
I mean, I know it's the same guy who created Dead Space, so I guess that only makes sense. But yeah,
and it is true, because look, you see, it's going down.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. All right. After this, we'll move forward. Oh boy, look at that. Anyway, damn. All right, cool. All right.
Rest in peace, Josh Duhamel.
After playing Resident Evil 7 in VR, I have cured myself of scary games. I no longer play scary games.
It's like, for me, it's a cutoff. I'll play games like that, maybe Resident Evil, but when it gets to those psychological scary games and like I don't know, maybe The Quarry, even though The Quarry was really scary to me, but stuff like that I don't really get into. But so I don't want to go around and get all scared. I don't have time for that. But I don't know if it's a bit my age catching up to me or what. I'm like, I don't.
I'll be honest with you. The old man heart can't handle it no more. Nope. Ain't gonna do it.
Right.
Especially Resident Evil 7. That game. They pioneered the helplessness. At any moment in time, you do not have a sense of strength in that game. You know how games are power fantasies and they give you guns and you have this.
Right.
Resident Evil 7, throughout the entire game, you're just helpless. You're just hoping your way through this game, right? Even on the flat screen. So imagine that in VR when the sweat is like on your brow. Like, forget about it. It's just terrible.
What do you feel about the new third person or the action camera they're putting into it? As far as
no, I actually don't dislike that. That's not bad. I like the options. For those who are in really deep into the VR, into scary games, VR gives it a different dimension, right? Different perspectives give it a different dimension, and specifically scary games. If you are a scary game fan and you're just like, yo, this is what I'm about, get yourself a VR headset. because when they put them in VR, it's a totally different dimension. It turns you into a little baby because no matter how big you are, when that huge monster's in front of you and it's about the size of a building, man, you change your tune. It's amazing.
I remember that clip from Colt Eastwood where he was playing on VR and in Part 7, and the guy came kicking through. He was like, "Ah!" He screamed like,
"Oh yeah, I don't care how hard you are. I do not care. When a 7-foot whatever steps to you and you're looking up like this, and it's stepping to you and it kicks you, you will jump back because it kicked you. You will. But anyway, so yeah, we'll move quickly through these. If you see any piece of these pieces here that you think is worth a mention, you let me know. Obviously, Call of Duty, it's the big elephant in the room. It'll stay that way until the whole ABK thing comes and goes. Flashback 2 looks interesting.
Flashback 2, that's crazy to me because I love the original Flashback.
The original was really awesome, man. It was absolutely awesome. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing if they actually are treading new ground here, or if it's just one of those things of, well, you remember the old one, right? Let's play, But
you're right.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. We shall see. But it has the potential. It has the IP. So I'm good. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do here. Let's see. Wildfire.
I did not expect them to show that though. It was like, oh, it came out of nowhere. But Modern Warfare 2, by the way, I played through Modern Warfare 2019's campaign, the remake.
Yeah, I heard you say that. You like it?
And I loved it. I don't even care for Call of Duty. That should tell you everything you need to know. I
Bro,
loved it.
I do not play multiplayer Call of Duty. I don't.
Yeah,
but I've played every single campaign almost. Every single one. Because them campaigns are great. They are like your 80s nostalgia hit of, your Dolph Lundgren movies or your Schwarzenegger movies. That's what this is. You know
what
I mean?
Like, one-liners for your character.
That's right. Go. In the 80s, I used to put on ABC Network and just sit back and watch all the 80s dumb movies. Now I can just play Call of Duty campaigns.
All we need is one of the villains to be like, I have diplomatic immunity, and for us to be like,
exactly.
Revoked. Boom.
That's right. It is fun. Right. It's not serious. It's not. There's not that much seriousness to it, and it's cheesy and campy, but it's in the best way possible, in my opinion. I've always enjoyed them. I have been one of those rare fools that advocated for them separating the multiplayer from the single player, because I'll pay $30 every month, every year for one of those.
I didn't even think about that, but I absolutely would do that.
Because there are many people who literally pick up that game and never ever touch the campaign, and that's you, and you could do that, right?
Isn't that crazy?
So why pay full price for it?
Yeah, I always found that crazy though. I could never see how people could just play multiplayer only games. I just couldn't do that. They'll do that. Yeah. But
that's like picking up Halo Infinite and then going straight to the multiplayer, never touching the story.
I don't know how people can do it. I just can't do that. But you know what? Something that's interesting too. A lot of these games are his showcase. Like for instance, I think that's one of them too, right there above Routine. Like Solus. That a lot of that was a lot of spacefaring kind of.
A lot of space. A lot of what do you call it? Dead Space.
Yeah,
Dead Space like. I guess that's a new genre. Dead Space like. Like roguelike, but Dead Space like.
Yes, Dead Space in.
Yep. So, and of course we saw Routine that made a big splash at the Keeleys as well. Another one that I think should have been on the main stage of the Xbox show.
100%.
We're heading in that direction. Very interesting showing. Really highly enjoyable. Another one of those Dead Space likes, if you will. But shout out to Pong Soul, who's probably right now living split screen. He is not playing this at all because of them damn robots with the shark teeth.
He doesn't like that, huh?
Oh no, that's unnatural in his humble estimation. Every time this comes up, he's like, "No, it's a robot. It's got shark teeth. Nope, nope, that's unnatural."
I mean, it's a robot already. It's unnatural. It's not a
But with shark teeth, no.
Like they have to make it worse.
See this part right here, this gun right here. I was like, "Huh? Is that? Are we looking at something that might be akin to Starfield? Because that gun looks kind of similar." But it was not.
Also has the Dead Space feel to it because the gun looks shape-wise similar too.
Yep. And this seems like it's from a very small team. Also, very very interesting ideas. This is the year for those for the indies. Oh, there goes Shark Teeth Boy. So there you go. Made a strong showing at the show. They had Outriders. Yes, those who still love Outriders love Outriders. I played through the campaign. I may jump back in. Who knows? But for now, I'm kind of good.
Yeah,
Did you ever play Outriders?
I didn't get all the way far enough into it, but I did get a good couple of hours out of it. I liked it a lot.
At this point, it's probably better to jump in all the way now because they've fixed a lot of those crazy bugs that was plaguing people from the beginning. So whoever plays it now gets the best experience. You know, I
was playing through it a bit with my boys, and I got far enough. I think I got to like level 18 or something like that. So I got to get back to it.
Not bad. Cool, very cool. What do you think of Fall Guys going free to play and everywhere?
It seems like it should have started that way. I think the time has passed, but you know what? It seems like we can never quite call it, right? Because look at some of the other games that had revivals that we thought that was it. So I can't say, but it feels like it should have been that all along. American Arcadia, by the way, I do want to touch on that one. That was the games of the show for me too.
Very interesting looking game. Yeah.
It seems, by the way, with the Fall Guys, like I feel like you said, it's kind of like they missed the boat, and the fact that they kept it exclusive to I think PlayStation and PC or whatever how they did it, and not going full all out to all platforms and keeping crossplay like that, I think it hurt it more than it helped.
Shout out to Victor Alistine. Welcome, good sir. He says, it seems like Xbox is digging up some lost games like Scorn and now Routine. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. You know, as you will hear from our coverage coming as we're going through it, I believe that they saw that their calendar 2022 was looking barren, so they started hunting down some of these double, triple I's, if you will, and giving them more prominent placement, which is a good move. I think it's a good move. You know, but give your consumer base something else to look at because your marquee titles are on the back burner for now. You know, it's a shrewd move. How well it worked is, you know, dependent on your where you sit, if you like the games they're offering or not. You know,
that's it's an interesting thing because we had the conversation the other day, right? We said, because Jedi was pointing out those games come in a Game Pass, and if you're a Game Pass subscriber, it kind of eliminates that need of, I gotta have first party. Where are my first party games when you have all these other games coming right to that service? What do you feel about that?
And you know what? I said it in the chat when he was saying that, and I will say it here. It's good that you remind me. We bring this up real quick. A quick digression. I honestly think this whole thing, they don't want to play the speak to the hardcore pony, and I don't mean this derogatory at all. I mean it by the word as it's meant. They don't want to be part of the pony show anymore. Right. And I don't mean that like, you know, ponies PlayStation. No, that's not how I mean it. I mean it like the whole song and dance of, look at the E3-ness. Right. They definitely want to keep doing E3 type shows, but they want to be just like Nintendo is off doing their thing. I think that Xbox has they've had enough of being compared to the direct competitor, which is PlayStation, because they no matter what they do, they never seem to be favorable in that comparison. So they don't want to play that game anymore. Yeah. Right. And how do you not play that game anymore? Because that game is, you show us what you got right now while putting a twinkle in our eye about what we can expect in the future. That's the game, right? That's what E3 is. You show us the immediate while, you know, dazzling us with the future. Right. And they can't play that game. Sometimes they hit it right, and even when they hit it right, not too many people enjoy it. Look at what happened, right? And we'll get into it because that's the show that's coming up right now. Look at what happened last year. Last year, you, me, a lot of people agreed it was one of the best shows ever. If you check the polls of last year's show, it was decent. Wow. This year's show beats it as far as polls are concerned.
That's crazy.
I believe that the hardcore tend to be the ones that are not happy with this show. Listen to King David. Shout out to the ILP. King David gave it a 6 out of 10.
Man, that surprised me.
He's Mr. Rah Xbox guy, right?
He was cracking me up, but he gave it a 6 out of 10. Oh, wow.
6 out of 10, right? I was on the show with a bunch of Xbox guys. Shout out to Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick Excel himself. He gave it an 8.5 or whatever, but he has some serious gripes, serious concerns. You know, shout out to you guys on your show. You guys had serious gripes, serious concerns, right? You guys, it could be better when they do this. It could be better when they do that.
Right.
But all the polls that they're watching by large number is saying the show was great. Don't change a thing.
That's something. I think
that's what they're saying.
I think you hit it on the head. I think it's just because we have this idea of what it needs to do as hardcore gamers, but
yes,
what they did
because
this
hardcore are dealing with they are continuing down the path that was set for them by Nintendo, by Sega, by PlayStation. Every year we show you this amazing whiz bang stuff. It's been a cyclical thing for years. And just like with everything else, Microsoft jumps in, they jump into the pool, they compete the way you compete, and then they realize that the way you compete doesn't work for them. So then they change the game. That's the reason why now you don't even ask how many consoles Xbox sold, because you've been trained that they don't really pay attention to those numbers anymore. Yeah. Because those numbers never worked for them. It never worked for them. But engagement works.
It's something because right? they, fanboys will still try to do that. They still run and say, the UK chart says this, and according to the UK charts. But it's interesting. You're right. They have.
But you see what I'm saying? They have come to the place where they're like, look, PlayStation can have the E3 of dreams and it works. We can never have the E3 of dreams, because if we show you something 5 years down the line, it's, oh my God, this will never come, or why does it look so bad, right? So for those who say that, Microsoft is too reactionary and, they heard that we want a gameplay and that's the reason why they did this, they're leaning on that. But I think it works for them.
And I think
so they don't never have to play this game ever again. So from now on, that's all you'll see from them.
You might be
every 12 months.
It's interesting.
Then they don't have to worry about showing you anything beyond anything. Everything they show you will be almost ready.
If they stick to this. Now, we don't know for sure if they'll stick to it next year. If they stick to
I'm
it next
pretty
year,
confident they will. I'm pretty confident they'll stick to this next year, because then they never have to play this game ever again. Because there have been many reports that Phil Spencer is just as angry and as upset that we are when the games don't hit the way they should or the trailers don't look the way they do.
Yeah.
He gets upset. Hey, we need to show more. So to show more, those games need to almost be done.
It's something I always joke about, that I always say Phil's, presents himself as such a nice guy. I said, I wonder how he is behind the scenes when stuff is not going right. Is he out there, get these damn games out right now? I wonder if he's out there doing that. But no, just to say, I think you're right about the hardcore part. And it's because, like I said, we have a specific thing that we've been training ourselves over time because of competition. And we'll look at what Sony is doing, Nintendo is doing, particularly Sony, and say, well, they're doing this and they showcase this like this, and they got their games coming out like this. Even if they get delays, the consensus, or at least the popular belief, is that it's management issues at Xbox, and that those delays are only really affecting them. So, and the whole way they presented things with a lot of diversity, it goes against the whole, give us nothing but AAA things that Sony kind of does. So we get a lot of mixed.
They're trying to shake the narrative of the status quo.
They
That's
are.
what they're trying to do.
I can see what you mean there. And I think because of the diversity, it appealed more to people, which is probably why people saw this show as better than last year.
But the hardcore who love the status quo, which is show me moonshots, show me AAAs, show me indies, show me exclusives, they all dislike this show, because that means you're not playing the pony show anymore. Right. You're not giving a tit for PlayStation's tat. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing that anymore. And I sincerely think that that's where Xbox wants to be. They don't want to be compared, because when they compare, usually they don't win in that comparison, right? Point. Because those others have been doing it far longer and they know how to do it far better. Yeah. Right? They have relationships, and we'll get into that. They have relationships with game publishers where they'd have to do little and exclusives just show up at their door. Yeah. They have that.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, I already know where you're going with that. Absolutely.
So there's no way Xbox can compete in that game. So there's no way they want to try. They want to now be the Netflix, really the Netflix of games. I've said it before. If you paid attention to Netflix, look at what they do now. They do this Netflix Geeked event. And when they do this event, what do? They bring the Stranger Things guys out. They bring the Witcher cast out. They bring all this stuff out. And they go, guess what? Here's what you're going to be watching for the next 12 months. AKA, this is the reason why you should keep your subscription. That's all they're there for. Yeah. They're not there to show you what's out in 5 years, moonshots. No, they're just there to say, hey, keep subscribed. take a look at this.
Yeah, that
You
makes
know what I'm
sense.
saying?
Stay with us. We got a whole year of this.
Stay with us. We got, exactly.
Right.
Victor Alistine asks, did I see what Walmart Canada tweeted? If you say Walmart Canada, I know it's going to be scandalous. No, I have not seen it. If you wouldn't mind sharing that with the rest of the class. What was it, Umbra?
Oh, PlayStation is eating good. It had the.
Yeah. I saw that. I did see. PlayStation's eating good this year or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, that I did see. Yes.
Like,
and you know what? That will all feed into the conversation that we're going to have moving forward. Let's get through this real quick. So, did you see Midnight Fight Express?
I did. It looks pretty interesting to me. It kind of gave you that little bit of that seafood feeling, just a little bit. It's not as nice looking, I don't think, overall, but it's definitely interesting. And also that it's coming to Game Pass is a
Game Pass day one, Xbox timed exclusive, if I'm not mistaken, and made by and large by one developer, one dude. I saw that and went, mind blown. This is amazing. Yeah, we're in the beat 'em up status. This seems like an evolved Bad Dudes. I am there for it. This is amazing.
It also has more. It's more dynamic overall. Of course, look at all.
Yeah, and then you all of a sudden you're in cars, you're on bikes. They're taking it there. So one dude. I'm absolutely interested. This is great.
Yeah.
So
this
I thought was cool.
Kind of animations and such. It looks dope.
And there's customization, as you can see. There's hand-to-hand combat. Whoever's doing this, man, one Polish dev.
Talented. You're right.
Amazing.
Yeah, it looks really
amazing.
Good. Yeah, it was in my top. I think 10 of the show.
Yeah, look at that, and of course it's coming to Xbox, PlayStation. But Game Pass day one. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, there was a lot, and we can keep going because the show had a lot. And Shredder's Revenge is on here as well. Another one, again, I will say should have been on the Xbox main show. We'll move along.
Three of them at least. Shredder's Revenge, as you pointed out, routine, and there's another one coming up that I'll let you get to.
Yeah, but before we get there, Metal Hellsinger for my musicians in the crowd. Okay, and I was a DJ way back, so I love all kinds of music. I'm big into all kinds.
Same.
As long as you have a good rhythm, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I've played a Switch game called Curse of the Necrodancer.
I got that on my Xbox.
There you go. Curse of the Necrodancer. That game was absolutely awesome. Basically, dungeon crawler, Zelda style, but to a beat. Right? And you had to kill it to the beat. And the more you do it to the beat, the combos increase. And it was a very interesting method of doing that kind of a game. And I think Nintendo saw them and gave them Cadence of Hyrule, which is like almost a Zelda-like, actual Zelda with the Zelda property. Again, almost poppy kind of music, but you're killing, doing everything to the beat, even walking to the beat. Right. This Metal Hellsinger is that, but with metal, obviously, with absolute metal music. And the visuals, the look of the game is Doom 2018.
It definitely
is. The system mechanics of the game is Doom Eternal.
Yep.
And the fighting style is Cadence of Hyrule. And it's got
nice. It's
amazing. And all of the really awesome music on it are all music that have been by very, very popular metal artists, including the frontman to System of a Down. They made music specifically for this game and can be played and can be streamed without any copyright claims. They made it specifically for that purpose.
Very nice.
So they want people to stream it. They want the music to be out there. Even if you're not a huge metal gamer, it's the type of game where you go in there and just keep it in your head. Keep the timing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you just keep hitting to that timing.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
A very interesting game. I mean, visually, it wasn't show stopping or anything to me.
No. It's an indie. It's a double I or a triple I, if you will.
Yeah.
The music is amazing. It's great music. Yes. Oh, shout out to John Wolf in the chat. Welcome, good sir. He says the music is amazing. He's agreeing. Yes, it's a very interesting concept. Just even if you're not necessarily the hugest metal fan, the fact that they're trying this music sequencer style in gameplay is so innovative and interesting, and you should try it out. Give it a try. If it ever comes on sale or if it comes to Game Pass, which it might, very cool, very interesting. Maybe we'll get a what do you call it? Def Jam Fight Force series that does something to this in nature, right?
Yeah.
First person shooter, that'd be cool, bro. I'm just saying.
Dope.
I've been playing Fight for New York again on the Steam Deck, so
Man,
I'm
they need
back in that.
I would love for them to bring that back. You have no idea.
You know, they need to. You know. But let's move quickly along. Yes, we saw a bunch of different things, and there's just more and more to see. I've been playing with I played real quick, tried out the Saints Row custom. They have a character creator that you can download on every platform at this point, just to try it out in preparation of the game. As with all things Saints Row, it's crazy, absolutely nuts. You know, all the ridiculousness there. You know, if you're into that, it's gonna be for you. What do you think?
I saw a lot of people doing it. Could you go back up to the Layers of Fear? Now you don't have to play it, but what did you think about that? Because on our podcast, we talked about it, and I was like, and this is one of the horror type games I was talking about where I don't care for. This will be one of them. And by the way, Blooper Team, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of Blooper Team. I really
so I respect Blooper Team for what they are in this space, but none of their offerings besides they did one with one of the stars of he's not too long ago passed away. He was one of the actors that was in Blade Runner. I forget his name. Oh my god, it's at the tip of my tongue. They did a game with him, like a mystery noir kind of. I'll find it. I'll look it up while we talk. But they did a game with him on that. That I found pretty interesting. But by and large, their games have not interested me so far.
Yeah, was it Rutger Hauer?
Right, Rutger Hauer, exactly. Yeah. That was Rutger Hauer. Yes. What's the name of that game they did with him? I forget the name of the game. That game. They've reiterated, they've revised it, put ray tracing in it. It's very, very interesting. Very interesting kind of walking sim, if you will, but more like a detective noir story. I thought that was very interesting use of the style.
Observer.
I respect Observer. That's what it is. Observer. Yeah. I played Observer Redux, the remake. Very cool, very interesting style. But I agree with you in that they haven't hit their stride, in my humble opinion, yet. Right? They haven't really done that one game that makes you go, "Yup, these guys have arrived." But I respect them being in this space because we are either in a place where it's all indie, like pixel art indie, or it's AAA budget. These guys and the guys that also did The Descent, they sit in this mushy middle where they're kind of AA, but hit AAA aspirations from time to time. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Like Ninja Theory was that for a long time. True. You know what I mean?
Very true.
And now that that middle is gone, these teams here are seemingly filling that gap. And even if they don't necessarily make games for me, I respect the fact that they're out here doing what they're doing, and eventually they'll hit their stride. I hope, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I would be sad if they like closed up shop and went away. Even though, yes, like you know, you probably won't catch me playing Layers of Fear. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I would be sad if they go away because eventually they'll catch their stride and they'll become the next big guys. You know, Devolver Digital, for example, they were middling for a long time before they became who they are now, which
Great
is, you know,
love them.
the indie publisher of all indie publishers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, yeah. So I'm always rooting for the underdog to keep going and succeed. So,
and speaking of Devolver, you know, they had that little showcase too after this.
Oh, I love their showcase. That was hilarious. We'll go through that real quick as well. You know, but before we get there, I will first and foremost ask, hey, if you're liking the show, I appreciate it. We see about 40 folks in here. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so. Consider subscribing. Too. I appreciate everybody in here. The conversation in the chat is lively as it is. We see all of the old favorites in here. Pragmatic Eagle, I see you, good sir. Thank you, as usual, for being in here. Always the introspective, intelligent conversation. Thank you guys for continuing to keep it to the point where we don't need mods because y'all are great out here. You know, y'all are just doing what you got to do.
Behave.
It's a beautiful thing. Y'all, you know, we're adults having adult conversations in here. Right. It's a beautiful thing, right? Let me ask you, but before we move on to the next show, and yes, we can touch on the Naughty Dog, the whole thing if you want to.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about real quick is, by and large, a lot of people did not like the showing of Gotham Knights up until now.
Right.
Did you think this one did a better job? Did you think that this got this latest showing here did a better job?
And they did. Yeah. They were smart about it because they gave it like different action cuts and stuff like that this time. Mm-hmm. So they mixed it in a bit for like cut scenes, or, you know, even in-game cut scenes, whatever, along with him, you know, Nightwing doing his actions and such. It came off better to me overall. I'm still not a fan of the art style versus how it was going from Arkham Knight. I thought Arkham Knight was like the pinnacle of like, yeah, this is where it should be headed. Hell, even I would say Arkham City, if they even could have stayed in that area, art style wise, I thought was really solid. So it was something to see. That what's up, Mr. Joanna Dark? Yeah, so stuff like that. If I think they just stay within that kind of that area art style wise, it would appeal to me much more. But I do appreciate how it looks. And I think I'm going to enjoy that game. It's one of those games, by the way. I wish that Microsoft would have worked out something to bring it to Game Pass.
Well, okay, so on that point of bringing it to Game Pass, there is still hope, because let's be clear, you don't want to announce this too early because they're still trying to sell the game, right? And the minute you announce it, then all of a sudden people go, "Oh, well, I guess it's coming to Game Pass. I guess I'm not going to buy it," right? They still want the pre-order sales to still be good,
right?
So there is a chance that before this thing releases, which I think it's in the Halloween time frame, there you may still see an announcement of it dropping, and they can't tell you early on because that won't work good for their bottom line, right?
That's a good point.
So it could very well still come. It just doesn't work in their favor to announce it too early, at least not the developer. Microsoft would benefit from it, but the developer doesn't want to do that, right? Because it cannibalizes their own sales.
That's true. That's true. It makes sense.
But I guess, and I'm looking forward to playing this game. I'm in the bag. I've played every Batman game. I'm one of those rare fools who enjoys Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
I think that game was woefully underrated. I really enjoyed it. I like them. That's the team that's doing this. Arkham Origins team is doing this. So although it looks kind of the way it looks, and initially it didn't show so great, I'm still excited to check this out. My only gripe about this game is they built this game for Xbox One and PS4. That's how they built this game.
Yeah.
And then right at the end of the development cycle, they went, I guess there's enough market for the new series consoles, and we probably can't hit the 30 frames per second we're trying to target. So we're gonna announce that we're no longer targeting the original consoles.
Right.
Doesn't make this a next gen game. I'm sorry. Fight me on it. Prove me wrong. As long as the first time you sat down and went, hey, we're making Gotham Knights, let's target the Jaguar cores. That's what this game will be for forever. Even if you decided later to change your mind, you can't then make it next gen. It's next gen only in name alone. It's not a next gen game, and everyone that keeps talking about that is just wrong. Although I am still, this is not one of those forget what I said before I just said this now. I'm still excited to play it, and I will play it, and I'm excited for that team to show once again that they're a very good team, the Batman Origins team. I really enjoyed yes, and shout out to Mr. Joanna Dark in the chat. He said they had great boss fights. Yes, they did. That Deathstroke fight was awesome. People did not give it the credit it deserves. It was great.
100%.
So agree. I'm not clowning them. I am just saying, for you guys out there who like to have the discourse with knowledge, the knowledge here is this is still a last gen game. Don't let the idea that they canceled the PS4 and the Xbox One console stuff fool you. It's still a last gen game. We expect next gen, like real next gen, that started with next gen in mind, which this is not that.
Yeah.
So we will move on from there. Do you want to talk real quick about The Last of Us 2, or have you spilt enough virtual ink on it?
I spilled enough on it because I think we can all acknowledge, everybody with eyes, it looks good.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Yes.
As far as how I feel about it, I
Mm-hmm.
don't care about it because I just don't think it needs to exist.
Well, okay, this is another one where Everborn Saga like strategically avoided the smoke here, because here's where we would drop in the fact that he's never played The Last of Us Part 1. He's never played it. Right? So for him, or for someone like him who's jumping in here, this is a great game. This is a great starting off point, right? They use the new engine to remake the old game, so now they both look the same. They've modernized some of the controls, so the fighting is great, better than it used to be. For those of us who played this, and for those of us who had the PS3 version, the remade PS4 version, and now are expected to have this version, I'm like, not so much. Especially at that price, I'm not so keen on that. But I will look for that sale when it inevitably comes and then goes back down to like $30-$20. I will definitely pick it up because it is a game that's worth playing. 100%. I agree on that point.
Yeah.
Victor Alistine is in the chat here saying he would rather have Evil West than Game Pass. Sir, on that we can 100% agree.
Absolutely.
Because that game looks better than it has any right to. It is absolutely fantastic. Made by Focusrite. I think that's Koch Media that made that. They've had other games in Game Pass as well. So hopefully, much like Gotham Knights, hopefully we hear about this when it's getting closer to release. Because they probably wouldn't announce it now if it was in Game Pass unless it was getting really close to release. So, I hope you're right, Victor. I hope this comes to Game Pass. I would be super excited. I'm still planning on buying it anyway because that game, to me, it showed unbelievably well.
It did.
When it showed. So
it's really good. That would be nice to come to Game Pass. I agree with that. By the way,
yeah,
Mr. Joanna Dark said that Everborn only plays bad Sonic games.
See, Joanna Dark, you're wasting your best materials, man. He's not here this week. He's not here.
He can't hear the slander right now.
But you know what? This is actually pretty good. Keep going, because I know he'll probably listen to this, or he's listening to this on demand at some point, and he will curse the screen when he gets to this part. This is fantastic.
Yeah, but the energy, like everyone's idol Goro says, the energy was very awkward at that point with the whole Last of Us part. It was just weird. The way they ended it was odd.
I suspect it's because they were still reeling off the fact that it had been completely leaked. For them.
Yeah.
So it kind of took the energy out the room a little bit,
It's karma, right?
Yeah.
You remember what Keeley did last year?
Yes, I do.
Everybody remember that? Yeah, this is karma. I'm glad it happened. I'm happy.
Yeah.
You remember that?
The views of Umbra do not reflect the views of the Gaming Circle podcast.
Nice.
That's right. That's a callback for you there, Umbra.
Yeah,
there you go.
Nice.
So let's quickly and for those who have seen the Devolver Digital's shows, they're never really shows. They are a fun like 20-minute short video, short film that are usually campy and cheesy in all the best ways. I watched it twice. It's 23 minutes. Do yourself a favor, go watch it if you haven't. There's some awesome references to movies in there. I think I caught like RoboCop in there. I caught Aliens in there. I don't know, Umbra, did you see the Devolver Direct?
I did. I thought it was really funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Did you think it overstayed its welcome with the comedy parts, or did it fit for you?
It's always this way. They push cheesy to the point where you're just like, okay, enough already. Yeah. But I always appreciate them.
I did too. Yeah. Like the games they showed, and the thing I've grown to enjoy from Devolver Digital, who by the way has a pretty good relationship with Microsoft as far as bringing their games to it. So I expect to see some of these pop up. And we had already seen Cult of the Lamb, so this is not the first time I saw that, but it did look really good. It looks interesting.
Yes, it did. It did.
And that was my biggest one right there that you just.
I'm about to get to it. I'm about to get to that's why I didn't skip over the Devolver show.
Yeah.
Because to me, the Devolver show, short of Silk Song is coming. I'm excited. This is great. The Devolver show gave me the game that I am most excited about throughout all of the events. I've seen them all now. This game was the best, in my humble opinion.
Nice.
Call me an indie lover. The Plucky Squire, frigging amazing. I cannot wait. My 10-year-old heart just kind of fluttered. My children are going to be there with me. It's going to be amazing. As a dad, playing a game that the kids can sit there and watch, is always key, because otherwise you don't get to play. My daughter's trying to sneak a peek at what's going on my X screen or my Steam Deck, and I got to kind of shoo her away because I'm killing somebody. No, games like this that are exciting and are innovative, but still also retain that childhood wonder and all of that. That's the stuff I want, and this looks like it's that in spades. Tell me how much you loved it, Umbra, because I know you did. Go ahead.
I loved it so much. I agree with you that it's probably, I'll put it in maybe top 10 of all things shown. But but that's because I'm more AAA loving, but I do love indie games too. This right here, I posted about it on Twitter and everything like that. It just, when I saw it, I was like, wow, like this. This is special. You can tell it's
It
going to
is
be
ideas
special.
on display. It is creativity on display.
And
it
even
is.
seeing like
it
the
absolutely
throwbacks,
is.
seeing the callbacks they had, and they were like Punch Out and stuff like that, is
Yep,
Zelda.
you saw
All of
that.
that.
Yes,
It's
you did.
special. It looks like it's going to be something really magnificent. I hope that they see the reaction people had to it and increase.
And it creates a good buzz. Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? Real quick, I see Mr. Joanna Dark in the chat as usual, making the show better. For those who are not aware, all of these games, and Angerfoot, which it's another one that is very good. Believe it or not, it's very good. They're all in demo form and can be played right now. I actually think Xbox also has these demos, but I played them on Steam. You can literally just go search for them right now on Steam and play the demos. I've played Cult of the Lamb. I try the Plucky Squire. No, that's not on demo, unfortunately. Okay. But Angry Foot is. Cult of the Lamb is. A few others are as well. Very cool that you can just like jump in and try it out and give it a shot. Another one that I thought was also quite gorgeous. Absolutely fantastic.
Yes,
have you seen this?
I did.
Skateboarding adventure is like Skate Story. Amazing. Like it's just a skateboarding game.
Yep.
But the creativity is so on display here. Like
the premise
amazing.
behind it. You're a skateboarding demon.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Exactly.
You said out loud, it's like what? You're what? But like visually, it's not even like something you can look at and be like, oh, it's not the greatest looking game ever, but just stylistically, it's one of the most beautiful games I've seen shown through that Rodney showcase. Then the music they added to it, it feels like something you could just sit there and kind of just kick back and enjoy. I like it a lot.
And the fact that and of course this is a skateboarding game and you'll fall a lot. Right. And the fact that when you're made of glass and when you fall you shatter.
Yep.
Chef's kiss, man. It's just perfect. Just,
I like it a lot.
I can imagine like playing this game forever and always falling and not being upset because you shattered. It's a beautiful glass. It's a beautiful thing, And then you jump right back in again for another round. This is great.
It seems like something that's more going to be focused more on the storytelling aspects than actual skill necessarily. But I am seeing some stuff that looks like it requires some skill. But I wonder how much they're going to lean into that versus story. Because like when I see this, I think of something like The Artful Escape and how that was more focused on storytelling. It has
Artful Escape vibes. You're absolutely sure.
Yeah, and I love the music that I heard from it. If they keep it to that kind of that lo-fi kind of sound, I like it. I liked it a lot.
So usually these shows are just about picking through the fluff to get to the story, to get to the announcements. And I'll play this as well because I think people should play this. It is very fun. You just walk through, just kicking things, like just, and you're throwing, you're kicking, you're grabbing guns, you're grabbing whatever you can to get in the room, and it's one shot kill. If they get you, you're done. If you get them, it's very, very cool, fast paced action.
Nice.
I was saying this Devolver. Usually we cut through the fluff to get to the trailers. I say watch the whole Devolver show. It is hilarious. It is goofy. If you like campy, ridiculous B movie, like on purpose ridiculous things, in between these trailers, they are very hilarious. They're fun. I always enjoy them. So thank you so much for checking this out. This is really good stuff. And the more attention these guys get, the more chances are that we will be getting more like this. So that's why I advocate for people to check it out. The AAA will always be there. They'll always be amazing. But these guys deserve attention too.
They do. Devolver is probably at the top of their game right now, I think.
And we see Doom Cutie is in the house. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for checking us out.
What up, Doom?
Great show last night. I was watching you guys. This was really, really cool. So let's get back now. We'll get to the main show. We'll get to the main show because that's why we're here. I'm sure because there's a lot of Xbox guys in the chat. We always tend to give Xbox the love on this show, and of course I'm wearing my Xbox onesie today. So let's get into it. Okay, so I think I've heard you speak somewhat about what you liked about the show, and we've already been talking a little bit about what we think, where we think people, where it shined, where it lacked a little bit, where we think the different demographics thought of it, right? I guess my question is, so just to set the stage real quick, and those who've watched the show and been here, you'll know definitively, where I'm coming from with this, Right. When the gloom and doom of and Starfield and this is delayed and that is delayed and all this, I was on that train of, hey, wait until we see the full picture.
Yeah.
Wait till we get the full story, right? Which is what they're going to show us at both the main show and the extended, right? Because then they've given you the full picture. They've given you that we've delayed this, but these are the things that you have to look forward to, right? And then, of course, as soon as the show started, right, they laid down new rules of engagement. From now on, 12 months. That's all you're getting. And we'll go back to the smoke. We'll get back to the... And I see the man risking for the biscuit is in here as well. Oh, you guys are just great pulling up here. Shout out to you, good sir. Great show last night. I was telling your panel member here, you guys always knock it out the park, and yesterday was no exception. You guys did a great job, so I appreciate you being in here.
Just to throw it out there, risk it for the biscuit and Doom Cutie's use does not reflect on the opinion of the of the Gaming Circle podcast. What's up, Rich?
So then we got to the show, and as soon as we got there, what was it? They laid down the new law. You're getting the fiscal 2022, everything you need from that time to the next fiscal landmark, which is 2023's June, right? And then what did we see? We saw Redfall. Let's break into Redfall. What did you think of Redfall when you first saw it? What do you think of Redfall now that you've seen this showcase?
When I first saw Redfall, and the bad part about online business is that you're going to have people that's going to try to tear down your enjoyment before you get a chance to do anything, right?
The minute you see something good, somebody's ready to clown you.
Absolutely. So it was a leak for Redfall last year. I'm not sure who all remembers it, but it was early gameplay leak, and people were
I remember seeing it. I think even Windows Central Gaming ran a story on it, showed some of the screenshots. Yep.
That's right. So when I first saw it, my mind went immediately to it looks like a poor copy of Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead, et cetera, et cetera. So I was kind of low on it at first. And even when they showed it, like the CGI trailer for it last year, I was like, it's interesting. It wouldn't have been my last, one more thing moment. And I still kind of feel that way. I think they should have saved that for a bigger game at the end last year. But regardless of that, I had a low feeling of it. But this trailer here that you're showing now actually changed my mind completely. I was like, I wouldn't say blown away, but I was like pleasantly surprised. Like, no, this looks good. And this is still in, it's delayed, so they're going to improve it even more. So that's also a good thought to my head. And we know that Arcane is a great studio. So I don't know why I had that thought. I shouldn't have had the thought. Now that I saw this, it kind of brought me back like, nah, relax. It's going to be all right. And because this did a good job of not only giving you a punchy gunplay feel for the guns, it showcased the abilities you can use from these characters. And even like particle effects, all those types of things looked really good to me. Like I liked a lot of it.
And it looks like they're using the same engine that they did for Deathloop. It has a very similar aesthetic to it.
It does. I could see that. I was impressed overall. I thought it came off really good, really well.
And of course, my techie brain, the first thing I saw when I was looking at that, I'm like, oh, you see that ray tracing in the puddle. You see the blood. You see the ray tracing, the RT in the puddle of blood. Oh, they're doing it. What does that tell me? Tells me next gen only.
Yep, that's true.
Right? That means they didn't start this with Jaguar cores in mind. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Continue.
Although I can hear somebody now, yes, next gen only, but what does that mean? I mean, it doesn't look next gen. It looks like an Xbox One game. I can hear that now. But no, I think look at the particle effects right there when you kill the
Yeah.
It looks good.
I am in complete agreement with you that even though I didn't have a bad example feeling for it when I saw the game, I was intrigued. I will tell you that this show showed best. Redfall showed best on this show. Right, we'll get into Starfield and what we think of that, and I'm enjoying Starfield and all, as well. I enjoyed that showing as well. But after seeing this, I think Redfall gained in excitement for a lot of people after seeing this trailer, and I think rightfully so. There's a lot on display here. People forgot Arcane is out here. They're doing good work, and they have a small sense of they put a little touch of humor into it. The gunplay looks solid. They always make sure they put touches of fun. What do you call it? when it comes to co-op interoperability, you help someone, they help someone in order to traverse the world. It looks like it'll be great with a team, So I'm excited that they got a chance to, reintroduce Redfall to the public, because I think this was a way better showing than the first one.
It is. It's interesting that it was the last showing for last year, not the first year. Yeah, the showcase did not go quite the way I thought it would go. Although for the Starfield situation, they did show the gameplay of that as lengthy as I hoped it would be. Actually, more lengthy than I thought it would be. I thought it would be like 10 minutes. It ended up being like 15.
It ended up being far longer. Yeah, exactly. Far longer. But so this trailer showed very, very well, right? And then from then on, we moved on to, obviously we're not going to go through all of them because you've seen some of these. Hollow Knight, Silk Song, of course, the fabled III game. Finally, now this is a presumption, right? But it's still out there. They set the tone by saying we're showing you everything you'll see in the fiscal year, the next 12 months, and then they said Silk Song is coming to Game Pass day one. That tells me that Silk Song is coming in 2023 before the next E3 showcase.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being presumptuous, but we've been waiting for this game for far too long. They even didn't give us a release date still, but it was showed among others saying that it's being released in the next 12 months. So I'm, until I'm woefully disappointed, I'm excited that this is coming out. That's why I'm replaying Hollow Knight to get that out of the way, because Silk Song is coming sooner than I thought. So I'm super excited for it. Shout out to the indie gamer out there. He and I we talk a lot about how much we love indie games, and Silk Song is high on his list. So I'm sure he was super excited when he found this out. Now, High on Life. Did you know going into this what this was?
I had no idea. The only thing I knew is that when I heard their voice speak, I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Rick and Morty. That's it.
Yes. Rick and Morty. Yep. Indeed. Yep. Now, I knew what this was going in because, and I've said this on a few shows, these guys have started they follow the footsteps of the developers of the dynamic duo that made South Park, right? They're now taking their stuff and going into games with it, just like South Park has been. One of the games they made, first in VR, is called Trover Saves the Universe. It was in VR only, but then they re-released it on flat screens. You can buy it on Xbox right now. It's smaller budget, right? This one, High on Life, looks like it's shooting for that Ratchet and Clank look, right? It's shooting for that higher tier quality, which I'm there for. I'm excited about that. But this game seems to have hit a very high note because it was hilarious and it was very adult themed. Play Trover Saves the Universe. It's exactly like that. Exactly. And it's on Xbox. It's on PlayStation. It's everywhere. You can play it anywhere. I'm biased, and I'll advocate that you play it in VR because it gives you a different dynamic. Like, they're all around you with the funniness. Yeah. But yes, it's goofy, it's funny, and it's blue as heck. Like, it cannot be. You can't share it with your kids because, man, they are out there. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So as soon as I saw this and I heard his voice and I saw the art style, I'm like, oh, fantastic! More in this universe, and they did not disappoint. Yeah. So yes, this is my PSA for anybody who's out there. If High on Life hits you like, wow, this is amazing, go play Trover Save the Universe. You will not be disappointed. Same team. Yes, you got to try it out. Same team. I mean, man, you'll be just ridiculously funny. Anyway,
I'm looking at it. You can see the same art style too from the Rick and Morty kind of universe. I can see that. Yep, it looks interesting. And it has Justin Roiland, who is the voice actor.
Exactly, the voice actor. Yeah. So he's basically taking the show on the road is getting into games and putting a team together to start making interesting ideas. So you know, I'm excited for it. He's filling just like the other devs. He's fulfilling a need in games that we're sorely lacking. Funny, ridiculous. Back in the 90s and 80s, we were, we had the Leisure Suit Larrys of the world. These guys are fulfilling that need. You know what I mean? Like hilarious, stupid blue comedy. It's good. It's good. I'm excited for it. So, yeah. So if you haven't checked it out, go check out the trailer. It's really cool. Let's talk a little bit about this Riot Games thing, because I heard you guys. I heard your conversation about it yesterday, and I agree with you guys. And by and large, you guys are console gamers. So on that show floor, seeing what you saw, it probably was a mid for you, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, you're correct.
Yeah.
Like for me, I knew going in a bit that Riot Games had a big audience. I just didn't know how big. I think I even saw you comment on it about 100 and something million. I was like,
130 million a month.
Right. Oh, that's ridiculous. So for us, as far as console gamers, yeah, that's not going to mean much to us if you're just a console gamer, because those were only for PC and mobile. But you know, knowing how it's catering to so many different people, and how it probably will eventually lead to some of those games coming to the platform, I think is big. And somebody here did the math. It was the guy named Crazy Flips on Twitter. He did the math on what people will save just off of, I think, League of Legends skins alone. He said it's a $650 some odd value right there they gave you. So I was like, wow.
Right then and there, everyone who pays for skins in League of Legends just became a Game Pass subscriber.
Yep. It's big.
Imagine that.
It's big, right? For sure.
So it's a huge move. Now, I understand what you're saying as far as, as a console gamer, it really didn't speak to you. I understand. But I know Mr. Infinite Umbra is also a movie and TV show watcher.
Absolutely.
So I will tell you, whatever you do, and anyone who can hear the sound of my voice, I guess this is going to be me today. I'm going to be Mr. PSA. Before you have a take on this League of Legends news, go watch Arcane. It's on Netflix. 1 season only. Go watch it. Please. You don't like League of Legends. You're not big into MOBAs. MOBA is a dirty word for me. I don't like it. Go watch Arcane.
Greatest. I love that show.
Have you seen it?
The enemy. Yeah, I love it.
Have you seen it? Have you seen the whole thing?
My enemy. I loved it. My buddies on Twitter put me on it. Actually, I did enjoy that. That's what actually.
It is one of the shows on Netflix that is I think it's a 90%, 90 plus 95% Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. Perfect score.
Wow.
It is, and it's literally the origin story of League of Legends. How brother and two sisters came to be, and you can get into the mishigas of it. But what I'm saying to you is, after you've seen this show, and then I hit you with the news that this show's popularity has already gotten them to start working on the first-person shooters and third-person shooters, console games. They've already shown concept art. They're literally coming to consoles, right?
It's crazy.
This deal was made with what they have today, which is mobile and PC, right? And that audience, as we've said, monstrous audience, huge. And then there's Valorant, which is also coming in 2023.
Is
right?
Valorant part of the Arcane universe too?
Yes, it is. Well, Valorant itself is not. I think Valorant is an offshoot. I could be wrong. Please correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. I think Valorant is an offshoot and it's not related to the League universe.
Okay.
Yeah, but Valorant as a free to play game is coming to consoles in 2023, and they've already they showed that off during this announcement as well. But the point is, this partnership is monstrous right now with PC and mobile, and they've already started showing that they're definitely coming to console. 100%. This is already known. After I saw Arcane, I was like, yo, I need to play this, but I'm definitely not playing a MOBA. Where the hell is something I can play? And then I started digging into it, and I started seeing that, oh, wow, they're coming out with, the PlayStation-like, if you will, cinematic, third person, first person. They're doing all of that. So right now, it may not be a deal for you console gamers, but trust me, as this deal matures, you're going to be excited because just watch the first season of Arcane. After you're done, you will be converted. I am convinced because I was, and I'm still not a MOBA player.
I'm not a MOBA player either, but I will say that Arcane was damn good, and it did.
It
put me on the League of Legends.
Insanely good, insanely good to the point where I'm like, yo, give me a game. Like,
I agree.
Check my tweets. I was like, please, Riot, I want a game. I will give you monies. Give me a game, and not this MOBA crap. Give me a game, like a real game.
Give me a real game. I agree. Give me a single player, story-driven,
narrative-driven
game. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Indeed.
With Jinx copying off of Harley Quinn and everything and all that. I'll take it.
Yep. I think it was a great franchise. Like, after seeing what I saw, I am so convinced. and they're already started working in console games. They're already working on it. So this is a big deal. Soon it will get into console sides as well, and that's when you guys can get excited, right? For now, it's a peripheral deal that'll keep you guys happy because at least it'll rise the number of Game Pass subs, at least if nothing else. Yeah. Hey, shout out to the Manti Talks. I see him in here. Welcome, good sir. It's been a minute. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking us out. So okay, Plague Tale Requiem. Did you play it? Did you play the first one?
I love the first one. I think I would say it's underrated, but it's not. I think enough people have given it praise at this point. It's a great game. I'm so grateful.
How much did you hate Hugo? Don't you wish he would just fall off a bridge?
You know what? He was slightly annoying just because his voice. He's
Amelia.
It's like, boy, would you shut up? But other than that, what is with that, by the way? Like, no matter what,
them damn rats, man, them damn rats.
That's what redeemed him because he, I don't want to give nothing away, but
of course.
At least he was useful. But it was like,
at least the boy was useful,
right? Boy, make yourself useful, boy. But
so what I will say though, did you see? And you can read into it to more when you dig into it. Have you seen that in Requiem that like the amount of rats on screen has been exponentially like I think like 60% more rats on screen, like hundreds of thousands of rats on screen at the same time because it's next gen only? It's insane the amount of rats on screen now.
I can only imagine those with rat phobia. What is that called? I wonder. By the way,
arachnophobia. No, arachnophobia is
Muro. Yeah. I just looked it up to be sure. So musophobia is from Greek mouse. So musophobia, I can only imagine how people who are afraid of rats and mice are like, seeing all this type of stuff. Yeah. Your skin must be crawling. It's like I feel like when I see spiders on the screen, if they have it in a game, it's like with a Skyrim, and they showed more realistic.
If you don't like spiders, do not play Grounded, but we'll get to that one. Do not play.
Oh, speaking of which, I did play that. I was like, no, I was terrified. I'm like, get these cartoon things away from me. Yeah, I had to turn. I had to turn on that safety mode, whatever they call it. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I did not sign up for this. No, but yeah.
I see you out here, Pragmatic Eagle. He says the only downside to him is that it's a stealth game.
I love stealth.
Yeah, that's a plus. Some of the stealth aspects of the first version of the game. Remember how I said RE7, you're not empowered, so right. you're so it makes it even more stressful. I kind of got a little bit of that in the first game as well, where all you have against all of these, ironclad, armored, the mountain from Game of Thrones style monsters is a freaking slingshot and a rock.
Right.
And some shrubs to hide you. You know what I mean? Like it didn't speak empowerment to me. I'm hoping that that stealth can remain, but when you get caught, I hope that she has more. I saw that now that she's got like a what's it called again? Like a what's the name of that weapon? It's a short range crossbow. There you go, short range bow. Crossbow, things like that. So I hope you have more capabilities at that point.
It looks like you do, because they got the crossbow to have a knife you have on you, whatever. So I think they will. I think they've heard the feedback from the lack of combat options in the first game. But the thing is, for me, is the immersion. Obviously, it's immersion breaking that you can. I don't want to give everything away again, but the rats. So after a point, it gets supernatural.
The sea of rats.
You know what I mean. But as far as stealth
and
aspects,
the sea turns into an ocean in part 2.
I'm sure it does. But the thing is, it's like that gets me about it, at least, is that you're playing with a 15-year-old girl. I don't expect her to be strong and powerful. She just had to escape from persecution and being murdered off and such. And so it made sense narratively.
But you know what, Umbra? To that point, though, good sir, I will push back slightly because you're a 15-year-old girl and you got a slingshot and a rock, and somehow you're able to hit the mountain with his sword that is as big as you. You somehow still find the crevice in between the shields to hit that rock right there and bring him down. Like, come on now with the immersion. How good are her eyes?
That's 100 plus luck on her side. That's all.
Like, come on now.
100 plus luck. There's nothing she can do about that.
And this man has armor for days. Are you telling me your arms are able to throw armor-piercing rocks? Is that what's happening right now?
She's stronger than we thought.
You know what I'm saying? But okay.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I do see they're pushing the envelope graphically and quality-wise, and the story is very interesting. And of course, it's going to be out relatively soon. So it's
interesting because the first game I thought was pretty beautiful too. Although you can tell budget-wise, it wasn't obviously the most funded game, but I think for sure they got a better funding for this one because you can see it's definitely improved.
Yeah, absolutely. So and it looks like it's coming very soon. So
it does.
It's exciting. It's very, very. It's the game that Flight Sim money paid for.
And I'm still thinking Asobo might be on the acquisition radar. By the way.
Oh boy, it might happen. We shall see. We shall see. It's an interesting time for all that.
Absolutely.
And then the DLC for Horizon. I haven't played it yet. I've seen some screenshots of folks playing it. Not too much to say. It's awesome. They're redoing Star Wars. They're redoing the DLC that obviously was done before. People complained about it a little bit, but Hot Wheels is fun, especially in the new location. I'm looking forward to trying it out. Are you a Forza person? Or do you like these DLCs?
I am a Forza person. The Forza Horizon in particular is my favorite in the series. I do like motorsport. But Forza Horizon I've always been more of an arcade racer than anything else. So it definitely speaks to me. And I love the first edition of the Hot Wheels track thing that did. This one actually looks improved. So I'm actually very excited. I can see some game nights popping up from this. I can absolutely see that. It looks super fun. Yeah. Super fun.
Now, I'm not a big Overwatch 2 player. I don't know if you are. I saw this and I thought, interesting. Another Blizzard, Ubisoft, Activision King game being showcased on Microsoft stage. I wonder if this has something to do with the other thing that they're dealing with them. But I'll leave that one there for just there. Do you play Overwatch?
I've never actually played it. The thing that's part of what I was talking about earlier, what we were talking about, where we talked about multiplayer only games just don't do it for me. And the thing is,
me too.
Overwatch could be so much more. I think because
I'm waiting for the campaigns.
That's what I'm saying. Like, give me a solid, real campaign around whatever specific character or the characters you need to do it, because then I would be all in. To me, that's the only thing holding it back.
Because they have such great, interesting characters, right? I just wish I could, because I've seen a lot of those 5-minute origin kind of trailers that they do. Man, such high quality, Pixar-esque in their execution.
100%,
they are great.
Agreed.
I need a game of that. I don't want to just watch that and then play a multiplayer shooter. I don't know. It's never been a thing for me like that. But I'm with you on that page for sure. For sure. So yes, and then I tried Flight Sim. We saw this Flight Sim. This is the weird thing that happened where I then saw this, went, hey, this is awesome. Tried Flight Sim in the cloud, and it downloaded for like 20 minutes from the cloud to the cloud to get me to play this. I'm like, what? This makes no sense.
At least they can play some music while you put on.
Yeah,
Yeah, that actually got me hyped because I never played Flight Sim, but that actually is like, I'm going to have to try it.
Oh, it's great. You should definitely do it. You should do it. Yeah. And people go, oh, it's a simulator. It's not really a game. You can decide how difficult it is. You can literally make it like GTA 5 if you want, where all you do is just hit the button and it goes. Or you can ratchet up the difficulty, and it'll literally teach you how to fly a plane.
Even if they go that route, that whole is just a simulation. It's not a game. Well, can you say that about racing sims too? It's a simulation.
Yeah, exactly. And most people don't do it in Forza Horizon, but you could turn that up as well and make it simulation-like as well.
True.
It's just defaulted to arcade style.
That's true.
They have the same control base as Turn 10, as Turn 10's Forza series.
Yep.
Right. They just default it one way, whereas Turn 10 defaults it another way. You can totally make it work the other way. So I think that narrative is always broken. But okay, so then in this show we got to the lull period, I suspect.
Yeah.
Right, where they showed you your Elder Scrolls Online and they show you your Fallout 76, both which you guys spoke about yesterday, and I agree with, had no place on the main show.
Agreed.
These should have been, in my humble opinion, on the extended show. You want to sit down and have more conversation about it? Great.
Yep.
A lot of people play it. Show it on the extended show. I didn't need to see it here on the main show.
Yep. Even I would say Flight Sim should have been thrown on the extended. Just being
Sure,
real.
I'll give you
All
that.
those.
I'll give you that. Yep, I'll give you that. Flight Sim could have been thrown on the extended. Although I'll allow it because this means that Halo was at least mentioned on the main show. Otherwise, Halo would not have been there at all.
That is true,
right?
Which was surprising, by the way.
Which is surprising.
Yeah.
We shall see. What do you think of Arc 2?
Family. Did somebody say family?
All about family.
Right.
Yeah,
right. It's so odd with Vin Diesel. It seems like ever since the Escape from Butcher Bay and games like that, they cannot get him right in a game. It's him, but it looks so awkward, and it's like I can't buy you as this caveman guy.
Yep.
I don't know. I've
Riddick
heard good things
was pinnacle.
Riddick was absolutely pinnacle for him. I think I don't know. I haven't played the first Arc yet. I haven't played. I watched my nephew play it a lot. It didn't seem like the game for me, but I didn't really give it a shot.
It is riddled with bugs. Even with the highest quality gaming rig PC, that thing is struggling to hit any kind of.
But my boy,
so even on console, it's just like it struggles.
I imagine. Now my boy Pete on the show podcast, he actually put in hundreds of hours in Arc 1, so he said he loved it. So I can only take his word
those
for
who like Arc love Arc.
Right.
As Pragmatic Eagle says, Arc is a job, not a game.
Yeah. See, I don't do that for games. I don't play them to be like, oh, I got to do a chore. So I don't know if I would want that. But Part 2 looks like it's at least more story focused, so it might be something I can get into. I'll see.
Yeah, maybe there's a campaign heavy. I'm looking forward to hopefully there being a campaign on there as well. Yeah. I for one, I don't dislike Mr. Vin Diesel trying his way in games. He did it well back when people couldn't do it well. So I hope he strikes that iron again, because Riddick, Butcher Bay, still to this day, they need to remake that game. It was way better than it had any right to be. RPG elements, the fighting, everything was very well done. So I hope, many have tried and failed and moved on. He keeps trying. I respect him for that.
Yeah, respect. Pragmatic Eagle says his younger brother has over 5,000 hours in Arc. Sheesh.
There you go. Right.
God.
Right. So that tells us in our small perch, we might be looking at it with a critical eye, but they're out there. They're out there making the money, making people happy. So there you go. That's right. Scorn. How do you feel about this? I feel things every time I see this game.
I feel terrible things. Right? Even the way they
feel bad things every time. I see this game.
That's another one. I felt like just put it on extended, because it's like you've seen enough of this. I don't want to see this nasty.
Well, but come on now. You know now, in hindsight, they had nothing for you. So if they put this on the extended, what are they going to show you?
Yeah, I don't. It's like I'm just so tired of seeing all this nastiness from this game. Like,
the
I don't want to see
follicalness of it all.
Yeah, it's like, who you fooling with this umbilical cord? You know what you're trying to simulate.
You know what you're trying to tell me.
Right, you know it. You don't want us to know, but we know that you know what we know.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Scorn does not speak to me at all. I hope it's a good game, because I hope all games are good, but it doesn't speak to me.
Me too. What about Flintlock? And let me be quick. Shout out to he was in here real quick. Shout out to the Wandering Dutch, who, if you did not happen to catch his community game showcase this year, please do yourself a favor and rewatch that, because not only did you see some of the best and brightest of the community and myself as well, but you also saw the first glimpse of Flintlock. Most people didn't see that. In the showcase run by the Wandering Dutch, Flintlock was prominently displayed. I think that was the first gameplay footage we saw ever of this game, and this game was a hit at this show. What did you think?
It was not only a hit to me, it was my second best at the show. I was that impressed by it. And mind you, I'm putting that over Diablo 4. I'm putting it over Forza Motorsport, which was the most technically impressive, of course. And other games like Redfall.
Those are known knowns, right? Those are known commodities.
Those are known knowns. Now, this we heard about before, obviously, but we'd never seen it until now. It impressed the hell out of me. I had made mention about it during the showcase, where somebody made fun and said, it looks better than Forspoken. It does look better than Forspoken.
It's Forspoken kind of done right. It looks like it's got a AA budget in comparison to Forspoken.
But
it looks like the ideas on display are better than Forspoken.
I can agree to that too. Combat wise, everything looks more focused. But I don't know. I'm wondering if it's AAA or not. It seems AAA-ish to me, visually at least, but I'm not sure. I want to know more about it. But it's one of those games where one of those surprises, rather, where it's just like you're sitting there like, man, I didn't expect that type of game to really wow me. But it was my second most favorite game shown of the showcase. Personally,
of
it
course,
looks really good.
Yep. I thought this and Redfall, like as far as much as it blew you away, these were the ones that showed the best.
I agree.
These are the ones that showed the best. Absolutely. Minecraft Legends. If people remember the Double Fine game from way back when, Brutal Legends, there's a part in that game where you switch game styles, where you start showing, it's kind of like an action RPG, action RTS, if you want, real-time strategy, where you're on the floor, you're not looking at it from a real-time strategy above, you're basically among the units and directing them while still in the middle of the game, like very frenetic, very action-heavy, action-oriented. It looks like that is the system this game has opted for. Did this thrill you? Did this give you excitement? Are you willing to try Minecraft Legends?
I would say it didn't thrill me, but I am absolutely intrigued enough to try it. I liked dungeons, Minecraft dungeons, so that was actually entertaining enough where you get it, get some people in there to play with you. So Legends seeming to have like an actual story and stuff like that, and kind of going that Diablo-ish route, I suppose, or something.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, it looks like it's something I can get into. Any game that has a real narrative along with the action, I can probably sit through and play and give it a try. And I think this is the right direction for Minecraft personally. Something like this, or even the Telltale games they had at the time. You remember that? Stuff like that I can do. Those. Give me a narrative. Give me something that I can grab onto.
I'm with you, brother. Beginning, middle, and an end.
Absolutely.
Give me something I can grab onto. 100%.
I need that. Yeah. I need that denouement. You feel me?
Indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes. And it looks like they're focused more on story here. So
it does.
I will give it a shot because Minecraft is to be respected. It's no joke out here. The amount of players that still play this game that we take for granted, it's astronomical. It's amazing. Like, this thing prints money. We just don't see it in the background.
Yeah, that's true. It's like the whole ABK situation with King. Like, I didn't know that Candy Crush was making that type of money.
Oh, bro. So one of my and I brought him on the show a few times. Shout out to him. He'll be watching this probably on demand. Shout out to my man Marshawn O'Loon, childhood friend. He's been on the show a few times. Nice. He worked at King. Some of the stories he tells you, he's like, they're sitting there while people are sitting there console warring and talk about how COD is making this and that. People are in the King offices eating popcorn, laughing because they printing money. They printing money.
They're like, look at these peons.
He wasn't. Yeah, for a small amount of time, he was an executive producer of Candy Crush.
Nice.
So he has some stories. He's out there telling me some stories. It's hilarious. But yes, it's a big deal. Big deal that's it's coming into the fold. I can see a Game Pass mobile with King at the forefront of it.
That's
in
a
its
good
future.
thought. I didn't think about that.
Oh yeah.
That's a good thought.
A specific mobile division.
Yeah.
You got your Riot Games now providing you mobile content, right? You have Alpha Dog having mobile content.
True.
You have, there will be a mobile wing, a Game Pass mobile, solely mobile, just for that. I can see that happening for sure.
That'll be something.
Oh yeah.
You'll talked about reaching 2 billion gamers. That'll be the way to do it.
That's how you do it. And it won't be speaking to you and me, but it will reach 2 billion gamers with that for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, Lightyear Frontier. My first thing was, isn't Lightyear a Disney cartoon, Disney game, a movie that's coming out soon?
Right.
And doesn't this mech kind of exude that a little bit? But it's not.
Kind of, a little bit, yeah.
It's not the same game. But yes, it is an interesting idea. It's an interesting concept. It looks like, a cute version of where we're about to head, which is this space exploration, open world, like, hey, see resources, farm it kind of thing, right?
It looked like a higher budgeted Stardew Valley. That's what it looked like.
In space.
Yeah, in space. In space. Absolutely.
With echo. Space.
Right. Space.
But it does, yes. Yeah, it does look. It looks peaceful, It
does. Yeah. And I was on a different podcast. I was on a Weapon Wheel podcast with BG, Broken Gamer.
Yeah, shout out to them. Yeah, really good podcast. I like that. Yeah.
Absolutely good guys. And a brother on there, he was talking about this, and like, this game wouldn't speak to me, but he was like, this was the most hype game he had there. So that just goes to show.
There you go.
Yeah, it's something like, not everything is for everybody. but gaming is for everybody. You know what I mean?
It's for everybody. So it may not speak to you. And on that note, Gunfire Reborn. To me, this was the peak of Snorer. Like at this point in this showcase, it was just like
I agree. I agree.
And then they brought me back with the last case of Benedict Fox.
Loved it. Top 4 game for me at the showcase.
Yes, and it like if you see the art style, it even evokes Ori and the Will of the Wisps a little bit. It has a lot of influences that you can see. You can see the inside influences. You can see the Limbo influences. It was very interesting, very cool looking. Showed very well. You know, this is one of those that Microsoft, you got a good one. You know, hopefully your exclusivity is not like for two weeks and that's it. Then why even bother at that point?
You know, it's interesting. We had this discussion in some spaces recently where people were talking about Microsoft needs to get more aggressive, and that's something I actually alluded to and said. It's like stop the whole little 6-month thing. Go all out. If you're going to go and as far as money heading these things, then get them in there for.
We know you don't like it. We know you want to be above the fray, but this is business. And if you're going to play the game, play the game. Don't be dipping your toe in. Play the game.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like,
or don't play the game at all. Like, you know, that's
like
it.
They say, there's no such things as halfway crooks. You're going to have
halfway
to go
crooks,
out.
You know? You're scared to look? Nah, don't be that way. Come on now.
Exactly. And another one.
For those who know.
And this is another one, As Dusk Falls.
Yeah.
Should not have been there. I know they have to do it.
It looks interesting. It will be interesting for those who want it. But
it just entertainment wise and pacing wise, it super dragged. It was like
Yep. 100%.
And we've seen it before too. We've all seen this already. So it's like I didn't need to see this again.
This is like their next version of 12 minutes. You know that indie darling that they keep throwing us a lot of attention at.
Right.
This is that budget, and 12 minutes was before it. This is the next one in line of that, you know. Yeah. And 12 minutes, you see how that one ended up. Those who loved it, but it didn't end up so great. And right now, I'm not so sure this will either. I don't know. I don't know. Either. I reserve my right to change my mind, but right now I'm not too excited for it.
I agree.
Now, Naraka Blade Point. Have you played this?
I haven't played it yet, but I have a lot of people on my Twitter who are like, "Oh, I'm loving it." So people are loving it. I remember them showing this years back on the E3 stage. I forgot where, but I remember them showing it, and it was like for PC only, I think, at the time.
This has been on the Epic Game Store for a while for like $12, $13.
Nice.
It is like it up until now, if I'm not mistaken, and please chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going off of data that I've read, but up until now, it's been mainly a third person. Well, obviously it's third person, but it's been mainly a multiplayer centric battle royale style, but with Tenchu type combat. Right.
Well, that's a big enough draw for me because I love the Tenchu series. So.
But now they're coming up with the single player campaign, and for those who don't know, if you happen to be in the Xbox Insider program, this is in the Insider program right now. I downloaded it yesterday and tried it out for a few minutes. I love the art style. I love the fighting mechanics, everything. They have grapple hooks, you know, you can grapple anywhere you want. Boom, you're out of there, you know. It's looking like it's going to be freaking awesome. The only place where I have a little bit of criticism. Oh yeah, yes, and I see Pragmatic Eagle saying it's more Black Desert. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you, and that's where I was going, Pragmatic Eagle. The only place where I have a bit of an issue is, it seems that they're reinventing the control mapping a little bit. Like, so if you've played enough of these styles of games, you know there's muscle memory. There's a button you press that you expect to press for a certain function. You know, the face buttons are for this. The shoulder buttons are for that.
Right.
And it seems like they've reinvented the wheel a little bit on that. I can't be exact on it, but I can tell you that there's a learning curve to understanding. Hey, you know, they're using like the
R trigger to attack
thumbstick
like
the R and the L thumbsticks, the press down buttons. They're using them in weird ways. You know, they're allocating the LB and RB and the right trigger, left trigger to different mappings that I'm not used to mentally.
Right.
So it's making the learning curve a bit more difficult for me. So Yeah, so I actually like being part of the insider program. Once you test the game, they give you like questionnaires. What'd you think of this? What'd you think of that? That's basically what I told them. Like they need to rethink the mapping of the buttons because those buttons are tried and true. You know, there's a million games in this genre, and like the standard operating procedure, if you will, of these type of buttons exist now.
Yeah,
right. So you guys need to. Games. Exactly. It's like playing a fighting game and then making all the action buttons the triggers instead of the face buttons.
Yeah, it'll be
right?
weird.
You're reinventing the wheel and making it weird and confusing.
Yep.
Once they do that, you know, this game will hit on all cylinders. It's exciting and fun, and more people should play it.
At least give 100%. It the option where you can remap control. Like
you can. I mean, I have the Elite controller. I can go in and remap all the buttons and whatnot. Yeah. But that's not how it should be by default, right? They should be spending a bit more time and playing others like this. Yeah. You know, and Pragmatic Eagle says that's how Black Desert feels first. You know, which, yeah, I think it's they're weighing more on an Eastern consumer base, right? An Eastern consumer base more than the Western consumer base, because I feel like some of these Western games have an established control scheme that these Eastern games do not necessarily conform to. Right. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying for us Western gamers, it leaves a bit of a higher learning curve. Just so you know when you get into it. But I do think genuinely people should try it because it's pretty fun, and I think it deserves the attention in that battle royale space, especially now that it's coming. It has a campaign. I think it's going to be really cool when it comes out.
Yeah,
Pentiment
having a campaign that speaks to me, so I'll try that.
I agree. Highly agree. Pentiment. What did you think of Pentiment?
Pentiment was interesting. You know, the thing that's crazy is, listen, Obsidian, super talented. We know that 9 times out of 10 the story is going to be worthwhile. I found no excitement whatsoever with this. And
did you see the Mag's response?
Oh yeah, I did. He's like, "What the hell is this?
What the hell is this?" And then as the video goes on, it's like, "No, no."
The Mag is nut.
Yeah. And you know what? That was his raw, uncut, and his raw, uncut opinion on it, right? And I see Pyro in here saying, "Hey, he's looking forward to Pentiment." Pentiment didn't show well, but there is a contingent in the audience that will love that game, and you know, more power to you. I think that's great. I just think it speaks to what this show lacked in.
I agree.
They should have read the room a bit. This game should have first been shown off at the extended. Yep. So while you're showing me the content, you're also telling me what I'm looking at, rather than just showing me, because this game is not graphic first.
It's not showcase worthy, like as far as because showcases have a specific criteria they have to hit, and that is to wow you. It has to bring you in. I don't think, not to say that some not going to like this, because there are some people I've seen that's like, "Oh, I'm interested in Pentiment," but it didn't wow you. It didn't make you go like, "Oh, wow!" You want the wow,
and we've gone back. We've gone back to this conversation. You know, you're showing a show for the hardcore gaming audience. That's what this is, for the gaming audience, right? And in the gaming audience that have not been trained to expect every 12 months,
right?
They're expecting AAA stuff, especially from you who have delayed your marquee titles. So for the calendar year, if you're telling me the only thing you have is Pentiment, people are critical of that, especially the people who are watching, because that's the hardcore audience.
Yeah.
Right. And I see a bunch of folks in this chat saying, "Hey, it looks great. It's going to be there." I too am interested in Pentiment. I look forward to seeing it. It's just when you're when you're trying to adhere to an audience that's there for your Redfall, your Starfield, your AAA high budget. Do you see the ray tracing in the puddle? Audience, Pentiment at that show did not. It was antithetical to the.
Exactly. I was just going to say it's the antithesis of it, and that's the thing. That's the problem. It's everything but that. I think again, it could be a great game. I do not doubt. Was it Josh? I forgot
Josh Sawyer.
Exactly. Josh Sawyer, I don't doubt him. I don't doubt that their writing acumen. I'm sure it will turn out to be a good game. It just did nothing in the way of exciting people in the masses. It excited some of you all. But if you had to have this versus something else major, like I don't know. I don't want to name off anything because we're going to get there, but just something more major, a wow moment. This was not a wow moment right here. And that's why I said it would be better to fit in the extended, because like you said, they could better explain and give you an understanding of it. And like I think Pragmatic said, is when Mag's reaction was, "Is this the Bible, the game?" Yeah, you don't want to hear that. That's not a good reaction.
And I hear your point, and the counterpoint is Mr. Lucius Augustus in here once again. Good sir, thank you so much for being here. He says Pentiment is a gamer's game. People who only play AAA games aren't gamers. There, I said it.
Lord.
Lol. You know what?
I play
though?
Everything, and I still was.
You know what?
Wild by it.
I hear him on that, because some of these games are very much deep in the weeds, kind of like deep console PC games. The RTSs, for example, right? A genre that Microsoft is really holding strong to. One of the few that the companies are still holding on to real-time strategy games, right?
Right.
You know, it's a genre that's being left behind in favor of the cinematic third-person action. But like as Lucius is pointing out, you know, there's a place for everybody, right? And those who remember gaming like it used to be, this speaks to them. You know, hard, true. You know, hit your head against the wall till you learn the system's RPGs, right? And this looks like that. But I guess what I'm saying, as far as it not necessarily fitting into the show here, is the audience that was there to watch the show had been primed. That were that AAA console mainly audience, because those are the ones that keep coming to these E3 things, right? And Microsoft has now begun the process of trying to break that habit by showcasing more PC, showcasing mobile, showcasing games that are off the beaten path and not necessarily only AAA, but it'll take some time for that narrative to sink in. Right now, today, if you say, hey, Microsoft is doing a show, who shows up? The hardcore. And that hardcore will not respond well to Pentiment.
It's facts.
Right. That specific hardcore just will not. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying the game is bad. I'm just saying the audience that is there for that Forza gameplay with the ray tracing and the this and the that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're there for the wow.
They're there for that wow.
And just to add to that, like you said, I don't think it'll be a bad game. I think it'll absolutely be great to those who it appeals to, but the type of game it is, you know, it's a murder mystery. It looks like some type of murder mystery situation. Again, it just doesn't speak to the wide appeal of the gamers who want to tune into this show.
They have referenced it to Disco Elysium, which is really big shoes to fit, because that's a great RPG as well. Very heavy in the writing, right? But again, even in that camp, when you see the visuals on display and it's been compared to Disco Elysium sets your mind to a certain art style, and that's not what this is. Probably the systems are the same, and that's where the comparisons are made. But it reflected wrongly to the audience that was there watching it.
Just to add, Pentiment, again, like we say, I don't think it'll be a bad game. Obsidian is great. The problem is that we're talking about how it appears as a show. Not a game being bad or good. It's just as far as the
pony show.
Exactly.
It's the pony show.
As far as the show,
it's the look at what we have. It's the E3 of dreams. It's the we're selling you on dreams right now. That show that they're doing. This didn't fit in that round. Doesn't mean the game is bad though. Exactly. Doesn't mean the game is going to be trash. And I agree with by and large with what the audience with what the chat is saying, that these are the games that separate the hardcore from the those who only play AAAs, because gaming has these type of hardcore games, right?
Yeah.
Gaming has these type of, systems upon systems upon systems that require a lot of reading, that require a lot of understanding, that require a large, huge learning curve to get over it, to get an understanding of. PC gaming specifically is that way. Console gaming has become this, hey, we're trying to make gaming comfortable for all, so we round off corners and make it palatable for all, right? back in the day, PC games used keyboards because there were way more buttons, right? You needed a lot more buttons. That's why some of those games can't be easily translated to console because the button layout just won't work. It just so happens that, in my humble opinion right now, because of the show they were catering for, which, again, they're now trying to break out of that mold. They want to make sure you now know that, hey, when you come to our shows, you'll see mobile games, you'll see PC games, you'll see, console games, you'll see games that are played everywhere. They're trying to bridge that gap, right? Yeah. And it'll take some time to get that to work. But in today's day, that's the reason why I think most of the broad audience polls give it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. They're all in the upper echelon. Yeah. But the hardcore mainly gave it a bad mark.
That's true.
Mainly gave it a 6.
And see,
because they came. Well, and you know what? Let me. I'm sorry. Let me edit my language because I know when I say hardcore, people get triggered. Those who were there for the AAA, first parties were disappointed. Not necessarily the hardcore, because you can decide who is hardcore and who isn't. But if you were there for the AAA first parties, you were most likely disappointed.
I agree.
Go ahead, Umbra.
And I like a wide breadth of games. That's why, like, genre-wise, so it doesn't. I can appreciate all these types of games, but I try not to get into the part of defining what makes a gamer and what doesn't, because that gets spicy.
Yeah.
So we're all hardcore, no matter what it is. You got hardcore players who only play COD, for instance.
Yep. If you wake up in the morning, you have life, you have work, you have all this thing, but this game, whatever that game may be, is like eating your mental energy because you want to go play it. You're hardcore. Doesn't matter what it is you're playing.
They just focus on that one thing, but they're still hardcore into that, because it's hardcore Minecraft players who has thousands upon hours on it. And that's the only thing they'll touch. So I don't want to get into that part, but I want to just say this too, and it's all love, Lucius, but your name is absolutely a pimp name. I just want to get.
We appreciate our pimps up in here. We appreciate Lucius Augustus in here. You know what I'm saying? Come on now.
Pentiment is a gamer's game, baby. People who only play AAA games aren't gamers. There, I said it.
And that is that before or after you take the baby powder and smack somebody in the face with it?
He smacks anybody who doesn't like Pentiment.
Who doesn't like Pentiment? Backhand. You know what I'm saying? Right. He do you like Will Smith. Anyway, but no, I do agree with the discourse, and yes, I may be using the word hardcore wrongly, right? I use hardcore as a state of mind and not as a specific audience of individuals. When I say hardcore in this content, I mean the hardcore who are there for the AAA first party. They play that, some of them play that, list war, though that's a hardcore subset of the audience. They're not the hardcore, they are a hardcore, right? And that's the audience that were mainly watching this show. Right? Doesn't mean they're the only hardcore that exists, right? There are hardcore gamers in many facets, right? These were the AAA first party audience, right? And they were disappointed by what they saw, but I don't think Microsoft was speaking to them.
True.
I think that's what all of this poll results and stuff is telling me, that if you are a die-hard Xbox fan and you've been flying the green flag all this time, right? It's been like, this was the show that you were waiting for, that was just gonna, they're gonna throw it all out there, throw it at you. And I don't think they did that. They spoke above you. They spoke beyond you. They spoke to everybody. And that's why everybody else liked it, but maybe the hardcore Xbox fans, not so much. At least that's my opinion on it.
I think that's
now, real quick, let's get to the end of this, because I want to have a real serious conversation about this show before we end the show, and we're rounding about 2:30. So let's get to Grounded. I have dabbled in this game, and I've thought it was interesting, but I haven't really put as much time in it as I want to, because of first, that arachnophobia situation. Big ass spiders, no. And then you dial it down in the accessibility features, and it looks like a goofy goofball that's like running after you with this big old thing. So neither way is good,
right?
So now I hear, with 1.0, there's going to be a campaign. It is already known, infamously or famously, as a great campaign multiplayer, play with your friends, PvE kind of a game. With the campaign now, I'm thinking it's going to really hit its stride. I'm just advocating for when you get to the end and it's all over and you figured out why you're tiny in this room. All of a sudden, Rick Moranis shows up and goes, "Oh, damn it, I shrunk the kids again." Out of nowhere. That's what needs to happen. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, grounded from what I played the early access, obviously, and before it got to where it's at now. I played it when it was more bare bones, but I really did enjoy it back then. I played
me too.
it with my nephew, and I've seen some people like go all crazy, all out, like Cole even
the
himself.
Building.
Absolutely.
The stuff that they build in that, I've seen people build
crazy.
Like straight up mansions, intricate detail.
I've seen it
wow.
too. Yeah, I saw one guy who built he built one of those, I forgot what they call them in Japan, like the castles. Mm-hmm. I've seen him build that. I was like, wow. He had a little lake he had for himself, which was obviously like a little puddle, but it was just impressive.
I've seen people recreate the Tony Stark mansion that was overlooking the ocean there in Iron Man 1. I've seen them recreate that in the game.
Oh, that's crazy.
Overlooking the cliff.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, yeah. The fact that you have such tools to really be able to go all out in there like that is very interesting. I just hope they spend as much time on the single player campaign aspects and make it more as fruitful as they have the multiplayer stuff. So
yeah,
I'm excited to check it out as well. Hopefully we get some community members together and jump in there. Yeah, y'all can keep the spiders off of me because man, I'm not about that. I'm not about that.
I swear you're gonna hear me screaming like a girl, like ah.
No, help! Yeah, me too. No, not doing that. Yeah. Now for my stealth lovers out there. Everborn, Shadow Legacy. Did you see this?
I did. Liked it.
It's interesting looking, no?
It is very interesting. Like anything, like somebody was talking about the stealth part. I think it was pragmatic. I love stealth games. That's why I love,
when done correctly and empoweringly, I think stealth is awesome. Like I do stealth all the time,
Agree.
Yeah.
I use stealth as an option even in heavy action games. So I love it.
Me too.
I love the whole sneaking by and getting by on you.
Come see me in any good Assassin's Creed game. These days I've been replaying Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
Shoot, any brush is a killing field for me. Quiet, you come in, you're done. Bodies pile up in them brushes all day.
The killing field.
That's what I do. The killing field. That's what I call it. No,
but Everborn looks pretty interesting. The premise of it is pretty nice. I like the whole shadow aspect and everything. It looks nice.
Yeah, me too.
Just brought me back to that tin shoe feeling a little bit, but with robots that attack you or something. Yes. I don't know what that part was about, but yeah.
And then Diablo 4. People really, really loved Diablo 4 showing.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't played Diablo Immortal recently, then I can see how it made a huge impression on you. The art style is a scaled up version of Diablo Immortal, which is the mobile game, right? Obviously, they built them both in like at the same time, so they have shared DNA that you can see. So you can definitely see that they're scaling it up. The graphics, it's really high quality. It is great. Like, and I see Big Mad Mo in there saying that was the game of show for him. Yes, great looking game. It showed really well. I'm excited to play it. I just hope that it's not riddled with this, loot box heavy, blah blah. Because it's a mobile game. Immortal is, and as such, that's to be expected. I'm still playing Immortal, and I like for a game like that, I'm just there for the story. After the story's done, screw the end game because that's where the microtransaction stuff starts to hit you. Right. So I'll just finish the story and then move forward. Right. I'm hoping that Diablo 4, does away with all of the ridiculousness and it gives us Diablo 3 when it was working well. No auction house crap, no ridiculousness. Take those systems, move it forward to 4. How did Diablo 4 grab you? Are you a big Diablo person?
Now, this is the interesting thing about Diablo for me. I have never played any Diablo game, but after seeing that, not only was it the third best, or at least tie for second most exciting game. It's like right there with Flintlock, just a bit under it, because Flintlock really surprised me. But it was so good to me that I went and bought part 2. And I'm going to play through that, and I'm going to buy part 3.
I saw you playing part 2 and 3. Yeah.
So
I saw you playing that.
I'm excited now because it really hyped me up, and I was like, that looks damn good. But I saw him doing the whole tsunami of blood rolling over the enemies. I'm like,
rolling over people. Yeah.
It was
crazy,
impressive. Right? It was impressive.
Very much so. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm extremely excited for it. It's an interesting situation too because we talked about this on the podcast, but you know, the whole ABK situation. You know, it's not done yet, but we saw a heavy influx of you know, some heavy hitters.
Very heavy hitters, Blizzard games in here. Yes,
absolutely.
And so, they just kind of like put them out there, and they just kind of moved on.
They did. So but having them come out and have Rod Ferguson come out like they did, you know that it's alluding to it obviously coming to Game Pass. You know, so I expect this fully.
You know, for now, you know, and for those, and it's a good point you bring up. For those who are like, hey, what happened to Deathloop and a few others like that, you know, Ghostwire Tokyo. They can't even speak about it. They can't say the words on their stage until the exclusivity deal ends. Now, when does that end? Who knows? The assumption was 1 year, and it came out last year, September. So presumably, we'll start hearing them talking about it this year, September. If they don't start talking about it, it means that deal was for more than 1 year. Right? Until they're done with that exclusivity deal, you won't hear them mention it at all. Right. But it will come when it's ready to go, you know. So yeah, I do think it's interesting that they just kind of put the Blizzard games just out there and just kind of let them speak for themselves, as it were, and then they moved on. But in addition, go ahead. Yeah.
Just to add, by the way, now that I thought about it, so they had this as far as the Blizzard, and what was the other one? What else did they show?
Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2. Why in God's name did they allow Modern Warfare 2 to be shown at Keeley's instead of here? Now that I think about that.
Well, but remember, Modern Warfare does still have a contractual deal with PlayStation.
That is true.
Yes.
That is true.
What I do see, though, and this is just me reading the tea leaves a little bit. What I do see, though, is that even though they still have that, PlayStation has that contractual obligation and they get the marketing deal, it seems like PlayStation is like deprioritizing it as in their marketing thing, because as Everborn has said before on this show, why would you want to be pimping your a product that will become your competitors next year, right? So even though they definitely do still have the marketing deal, they seem to be like, yeah, we have it, and like they're going to do a multiplayer test before the game comes out, and that will be exclusively on PlayStation. You know, they still have that deal, but it seems like PlayStation isn't putting it under its wing like they used to. Like, hey, come here, look at us, we have Call of Duty. It's kind of like, yeah, we got it, you know, but they're not really pimping it like they do, you know?
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. I just wonder if contractually, if that prevented them from doing it, or was it just something that, you know?
I suspect that's, if you didn't see this on this main show for Microsoft, that's why. They cannot, it's not theirs to speak on, right? They can leave it. I was talking to Fuzzy Belvedere, shout out to him. He was telling me, because he actually attended the LA Fan Fest screening of during the show. He said they put a Call of Duty, like a banner, huge one, right off the side of the building. No one said anything. It's just sitting there.
I saw it. Yeah.
Why would you be doing that to on a show where definitely the marketing is not yours, right? They're sitting there going, yeah, we know it's an elephant, it's in this room, we can't talk about it, but we just want to make sure you know that elephant is here and that it's ours. See that elephant? Yeah, it's ours. Yeah, it's here. You know, that's what they're doing. That's literally what they're doing, you know. And I think Diablo, same way. You know, they're looking at it, they're like, we're just gonna put this out here. You know what we're doing. Yeah, you do. Let's move on, shall we? Okay. That's what they did.
Sea of Thieves, another one that, in my opinion.
Yeah, another one that, like, you know, again, I know some people like really love it, and I respect the hell out of it. I've jumped in on many occasions, and I will continue to jump in from time to time, but I don't think it belongs prominent placement on this show.
Agreed.
I think that they should, you know, and that's a conversation we're gonna have on the back end of this anyway. You know, it's time for them to have multiple shows, right? Since they are in the gas game business, where, you know, on multiple occasions they will have many games that last for a long time. I think they need to start branching off and having the show for just gas games, continuous games. Maybe. You know, you have Forza Motorsport coming out now, just called Forza Motorsport, and it's not necessarily Forza 8, right? It could be another gas game. We cannot see that every year at their at their E3 like event. It needs to have placement in its own, in a different show. So, you know, I appreciate it for those who love it, who continue to play it. But yeah, me personally, I think we could have done without this update here.
And clearly it has its fans, because I didn't think it would be selling the way it is on PC.
Oh, it's great.
30 million players, so it's clearly loved by many. So it's just I just feel like LOL.
And then this one,
boring.
Ravenlock.
Interesting.
There was a game before this. I forget the name of the game. Forgive me. And if you guys know in the chat, please remind me. But they released a game previously on Game Pass that was also like this, which had this 3D world, but still straddling the line with a pixel aesthetic. Very cool, very interesting. I think Echo Generation was the name of the game. Echo Generation.
Yeah.
Also in Game Pass, right? So, and that did relatively well. Like, it was an indie game that came out of nowhere that people played and loved. So they gave Ravenlock prominent placement here, which I don't fault it. You know, I think maybe it was a little low in the standing. It should have been shown off a little higher, maybe next to your Silk Songs and all that. You know, give it prominent indie placement. But I think the show is good. I think it'll be it speaks to that, once again, to that diversity that Xbox has. Yeah. You know, and this will definitely do that. Cocoon as well.
A lot of indie showcases right there.
Yeah.
And that was by Coco. What was it? Coco member? I forgot the name.
Coco Cucumber.
Co-Cucumber, that's it. Yeah.
Co-Cucumber, yes. Cocoon as well. What did you think of Cocoon? Now, so that people know, Cocoon is, if you remember when what's the name of the game? Inside came out. As soon as the game came out, the team that made it split. I guess the Inside they had a falling out, and the team split in half. And half of the team went to go do a game that we now know as Somerville, right? The other half of that team made this, Cocoon.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yes. So
Microsoft has
maybe folks didn't know that, and they have a deal with both. Exactly.
Wow.
Maybe folks didn't know that, but that's why this game got prominent placement, because even though it may not look like, hey, it's AAA fare, oh, what is this game, the pedigree is strong.
Yeah.
Right? Their animation chops, their game, they made Limbo, they made Inside, right?
Yeah.
So any game they make is, whoa, we got to see what they're doing here. So
you got to pay attention to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So did it show greatly? I don't think so. It's a interesting little puzzle game, but just by the virtue of their pedigree alone, day one, I'm there. I'm definitely going to check it out.
I'm excited for it. I liked what I saw. It looks like it didn't blow me away, but it definitely looks like a nice little puzzler, little action platform. Not action, but platformer.
Yep. And from that team, it's going to be amazing. Whenever it releases, it's going to be amazing. So yeah.
I like the basis around it. It looks like it's be fun.
Yep. And now, shout out to Beast Mode. He was asking me earlier in the show. Hopefully he's still here. Yes, Wolong Fallen Dynasty. This was shown off. This is the return of Team Ninja back to Xbox. We were hoping, some people were hoping for Nier, for not Nier. Was it? Is it Nier?
I was hoping for Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, I was hoping for the return of Ninja Gaiden. They put a bunch of the old Ninja Gaidens into Game Pass recently, so that maybe telegraphed that they were going to do something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this looks like is it Nier? The name of that game, the Xbox,
Nier.
The PlayStation game,
or
Nier,
Neo,
right?
or maybe you're thinking of
Neo. Forgive me, because Nier is another game,
right?
Neo
Automata and such. Or Automata.
Yes. Neo, exactly. Yes, yeah. Neo. And yes, Pragmatic Eagle, although that's an unpopular opinion these days, I agree with you.
What's that?
Team Ninja, better than FromSoft.
Oh.
That is an unpopular opinion, good sir. Yes. But yes, this seems like a spiritual successor to Neo, and it looks like it's very much, in that spiritual successor vein. It's got that budget. It's got really awesome graphics. It looks like it's going to be, really, really speaking to that crowd.
It's a very
I hope this game hits the heights that it needs to, because this could be what brings back Team Ninja to Xbox, right? This is them dipping their toe in the water again, right?
What's really interesting about it is this is the director, I believe, the producer rather of it is the producer of Bloodborne too. Mm-hmm. So I could see it being something in the vein of a Neo style game, customization and all of that. It's interesting too, because it looks like a demonic Dynasty Warriors.
Yes, it looks like a demonic Dynasty Warriors. Very much.
That was definitely,
although
at the end.
It's not really. it's not really Dynasty Warriors necessarily in fighting style. It looks like you will be doing more of the Neo type of fighting, not necessarily just like fields and fields and fields of enemies. I don't think that's where we're going with it, right?
It'll be more,
but it looks interesting. Right? It looks really cool. It looks really cool. So I hope people give it a chance. I hope this comes back. And it comes back in a big way because I've mentioned Tenchu on here already. Those were the games back then. Man. Those were the games. I
love it. I love it.
And Team Ninja and the Ninja Gaiden series were also really, really influential in its time. So let's hope that this is a return of the Renaissance that brings these kind of games to it.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm with you on that. And I was just excited as hell about it and to see them back on Xbox. So I'm hoping to see how actual gameplay the next time they show it.
Yeah, 100%. And then we got our Persona 3, 4, and 5.
Very nice.
Oh boy, how long have we been waiting for this?
It's been many a moon, and it's interesting because I've never played the Persona game, so it is interesting for a few reasons. We already knew Atlas was just like allergic to Xbox for whatever reason. But now that these games are coming, people were always telling us it'll never happen.
Mm-hmm.
Many JRPG fans on Xbox were like, "We're going to get it eventually," and they did. We're getting it, and it's very much like the Yakuza series, how they brought that over. I see them doing that here, and the next one's in the line, like Part 6. It's definitely going to come to Xbox now, so that's very interesting. But what's more interesting is these games aren't even on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah. So this is pretty big right here for Xbox to get this, and again, it's one of those things where it doesn't necessarily matter to me because I never played them, so I'm not invested in them yet. But there are tons of fans who are, and this is a major thing for them. Much like the Riot Games situation, where it didn't necessarily speak to me, but for those people, it's going to matter. So this is going to matter going forward, and it's also good to see the reinvestment from this Wolong and more that you're going to come up next. How invested they've gotten back into the Japanese market. And Phil said he would. So this is showing us like, we're doing exactly what we said we would do. Now, next 100%. Up, obviously, is one of the later topics. I'm not going to speak on it yet, but you already know.
No, I agree with you. And just real quick on this point, on the point that you're saying here, I played Persona 4 Golden on my Vita. Like that was my the only game I played on that thing, like for ages. And it's a long game, hundreds of hours, and you're still playing it. To me, as a person with a full-time job and 2 kids and a wife, 100+ hour games, 3, 4, and 5 may not speak to me necessarily because this is not enough time in the day. But people have been clamoring for these games for quite some time now. True. I am happy to finally see Atlas is responding and bringing these games to the platform. And I hope that this means moving forward, we don't become wicked stepchildren again, right? Xbox doesn't become the always the bridesmaid, never the bride situation. They get the game day one.
It was at a point where we were thinking, like, do they have to acquire Sega?
What do they have to do? Right.
What more do you want from me? Like, do I have to acquire you?
Yes. Yeah, and a quick aside, right? Before we head to the Kojima news, because we're heading down there, right? They got that, and then they lost this guy.
That's what I was talking about on another thing. Like they reinvested in the Japanese market, but it's something else that came up about that now. So,
and we don't have to get too far deep into it. But it is my humble opinion, and you can give me your opinion as well. There are no opinions that are wrong here, but it is my opinion that with the finally getting Persona on Xbox, just let it go. Enough already. I mean, come on. You hear what Microsoft is doing. They're going, we're investing in developers. We're now looking in developers in Africa. We're looking here. We're looking there. The Japanese developer community has always been able to kind of hold their noses in the air and hold this against Xbox for as long as they could. And for a long time, they had a valid argument to make because it wasn't really here. And let's keep it a buck here. The reason why it's been this way is because PlayStation has made a concerted effort not to spark the audience for JRPGs on Xbox.
That's facts.
So anytime anything starts, money had it and they get rid of it, right?
That's facts.
as recently as even in this example, like, and Mr. Boomstick has caught a lot of flack for it on the internet, but he's absolutely right. There has been marketing material shown that the exclusivity deal for the first remake ended April 2021. It was literally printed on the PS4 box.
Was. I remember it.
He has one, and it shows it. You can check his tweet. It shows it. We have marketing. We have people that work at GameStop that saw the Xbox version of this game in marketing material, ready to be placed in the front of the store. They just never did, because I suspect that that Square loves playing this kind of game and went, "Hey, Sony, you know your marketing deal is ending right now, right?
Sure,
we're about to put it on Xbox.
Sure, it would be a shame
if it comes on Xbox.
Exactly.
Hey, you want to see this wonderful marketing material we've already drummed up for the Xbox? What do you think?" PlayStation's like, "Oh, where's the money? Come on, hey. Here you go. Here's 2 more years. Here's 2 more years. Here's." You know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's the game that's playing right now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, just for the purposes of the dignity of the Xbox console, right? Eventually they'll come around, because the one thing we know about Square, they love money. Unless they're bought up by PlayStation at that time, which, hey, could very much be a factor in the equation.
Yeah, I've speculated that I think that would be the case eventually. So
they are slimming themselves down. They're going to the gym. They're working out. They're getting ready. They're starting to look right. You know what I'm saying?
Top shape for Sony. Yeah, I see
for somebody. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's what's happening. But eventually, they will have no choice but to look at this platform, because guess what? You have Riot Games offering 130 million subscribers a month.
Right.
You have Activision Blizzard subscriber base, like just as big as Riot's subscriber base. Combining them together, putting them all into Game Pass. Eventually, the Japanese audience, and remember, Riot is mainly Asia Pacific, like huge, right? So as more people joining Game Pass in that Asian region, the more Japanese and other developers will see in that region, hey, these guys have a lot of viewers. They have a lot of eyeballs. You don't need to keep courting Square. You don't need to keep trying to, they want a AAA budget worth of money before they'll put the next Final Fantasy. Screw that. I'm sorry. Move on. They just don't like you that much. Keep it moving, Xbox fans.
They're just not into you.
They're not into you.
But
you guys are the powerhouse of Western RPGs. Be proud of that. Move forward.
I had to have a discussion with my buddy. I was like, Xbox is clearly the home of WRPGs now. It's not even a question. But you're right. Everything you said, I agree with 100%. The problem is the shady dealings of it. Don't tell us it's timed exclusive and give us a release date of when that exclusivity ends, and then not bring it out to other platforms, to Xbox in specific, because it's on PC. So that part I can understand fans being upset about. Also, too, with this whole Crisis Core situation where they release now Crisis Core, it's like, oh, so you're going to give us the little scraps that not even you made, but that you remastered, but now you have Bandai Namco remastering for you. Here's a little scrap for you. Take that and get out of our face.
Put this in your pipe and smoke it.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? Get out of my face. So I can see how fans would take that as a slap to the face. I can definitely see it. I am not. Yeah. I'll be honest. I like Final Fantasy. I never quite loved it. I gotta play Final Fantasy. So this doesn't bother me. And also I have a PS5, PS4. If I really want to play that game, and I got a PC, a gaming PC. If I really want to play that game, I can play Rebirth and the remake and all that, integrate all of that. So it's not a thing for me. And the only reason I would argue for it is because I know I dislike the thought of that too. And I dislike the idea of Xbox gamers being left out by a third party. If they were first party, I wouldn't say a word. I'd be like, what do y'all expect? That's first party. They've become de facto first party for Sony, and that's problematic because they're not. And you could tell it's a money heading situation.
The people who have that opposing narrative, that's the piece of the puzzle that they can't seem to thread the needle of.
Right.
I've seen Boom's mentions, and man, it's vitriolic, because when this whole thing happened, Boom was like, "Yo, this is not a good look," right? And as Mr. Boomstick does, he wears his heart on his sleeve. Shout out to him. He was very much out there saying, "Look, this is not cool," and I agree with him. That's not cool. people were quick to be like, "Oh, Microsoft is buying up all these publishers, and you didn't say anything then." You know, and I'm like, "But Sony didn't buy Square though. Like,
That's
what
right.
are you people talking about?"
I said the same thing. A buddy of mine, Jack Astronaut, he pointed it. He said, is it just him, or is he fine with that? You know, for exclusivities and exclusivity for. I said, I'm fine with first party exclusive.
Yeah,
You'll never hear me arguing. Sony needs to bring Spider-Man to Xbox. He said that's a Marvel character. I'll never.
They can do whatever they want with that character.
Marvel made that deal. It's on there, and Insomniac did a great job. Keep going.
Yep.
I will gladly play that on my PlayStation. Yep. But when you have a third party game and you've made that, you've money headed that into exclusivity, then I can see people having an issue with that. And the problem I have is it's not the same energy return. When Microsoft did that, and we all know, and I'm sure you all remember in the chat, and that's why I feel is so against it now. And that's why they kind of do that half stepping when it comes to exclusivity deals and money heading. When they did that with Tomb Raider, people tore into them, and not just gamers. I'm talking about journalists. We all know it. It was a heavy bias against Microsoft. And even now, when you see this,
shortly after, Sony did exactly the same thing with Street Fighter 5, and it was crickets.
It was nothing. Even Ryan McCaffrey, and I like Ryan McCaffrey, he fell into that trap. Well, he was like,
and to this day, to this very day, Street Fighter 5 never showed up on Xbox.
Right.
But guess what? Tomb Raider, which Microsoft helped develop monetarily, showed up everywhere ultimately.
And that's
still that's status quo. That's okay.
It's status quo, and it's disgusting because it gives you that feeling of second place on Xbox, and that is something I am really against.
I understand on that.
And again, the media bias. People we point out the media bias as gamers. A lot of people try to write it off. That's just you fanboys. No, there is clear media bias. And it's the way that they do certain things. And the way that Microsoft, for instance, Phil almost had to apologize just for doing that. He had to apologize, if I'm not mistaken. Remember the whole controversy around...
On that note, not to cut you, but you make a perfect segue into the next story here, which is Hideo Kojima's unannounced game, which they then they didn't have a trailer for. They had nothing for it. They showed it to you and then had to quickly go on Twitter and go, "Calm down, fans. We're still making games for PlayStation 2. Calm down."
Yeah, I was like, really? You got bullied into this? Is ridiculous. You got bullied into making a statement. This tells you something very clearly in the environment, right? Yeah. Like, and I make this analogy all the time. The parents out there know what I'm talking about. Diapers are Pampers to those who know it. They're not Pampers. Pampers is a brand, but it's so popular that it is known as diapers in the colloquialism, the normal talking point of people. PlayStation is so popular, it is gaming for the normals, for the casuals, for anybody. When your mom says, "Hey, get up," in the 80s it was "Get off that Nintendo." I was playing Genesis, right? Now it's "Get off that PlayStation." I got my Xbox on. Right? It is so known that it is synonymous for gaming. True. And in that world, chances are a bunch of these 20, early 30-something reporters used to be PlayStation fans before they became reporters. Yep. So they come into it with their PlayStation biases. Hence what you see, right? Well said.
But that's not to be like, "Oh, this sucks," and da-da-da-da. Whether you like it or not, Xbox is the new man in town, right? They showed up in early 2001, right? While these kids were literally blowing on cartridges and like burning discs of PlayStation way back in the 90s. So it's part and parcel of it. The bias exists 100%. 100%. It exists, but it makes sense because PlayStation is the name for gaming by and large in multiple corners of the world, right? True. So it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like they're the Michael Jordan right now of gaming. They're the market leaders. I'll give them that credit. But the thing is, I just dislike when I hear people try to dismiss. And I've heard of the other journalists. It's no bias. Listen, not all of us are sitting here just delusional. We can see it's pretty clear. And I'm not even saying that people are not allowed their biases. But when it comes to a point where you don't keep any of the same energy as you kept for Microsoft, and you derided them for money heading things.
It's an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle. Yeah. And if I was Phil, I don't know. I couldn't be as professional as Phil, because I would be calling them out. Like, wait a minute, Ryan McCaffrey, you want to interview me, but didn't you say this? But you didn't say this when they did.
But matter of fact,
he celebrated. he celebrated when Final Fantasy did that, when he did Sony is smart, blah blah blah. I remember that, and I like Ryan McCaffrey. I don't want to say I love him. I got in love for Ryan because I've been reading his work from the official Xbox magazine all the way up to now. So nothing but love to him. If he's hearing this, I doubt he would be hearing me, but if he is, it's love. But you put yourself in a foot in the mouth moment right there, brother, because and he fell into that trap. I'm going to write it off as IGN syndrome because they do often, and even now with the whole No Man's Sky and Starfield situation, they always do.
And let's talk about that
situation.
Let's talk about that. That's where we are now. You are the man of segues. Good job, sir. So here we are, Starfield, right? Umbra, how much No Man's Sky have you played?
I have played only minuscule amounts. I've watched a lot of gameplay, very little.
When did you play No Man's Sky footage? When it first came out?
Yeah, way back. That's the problem with me playing them games way back at bare bones.
Okay, so let me establish the ground here where I'm coming from, and I know it'll most likely be an unpopular opinion, but go there with me, and then y'all can tell me how ridiculously wrong I am. Okay, Starfield, you can look at it two ways. Either it is a clone of the design docs for No Man's Sky. Literally, the design document was in the hand of someone and went, okay, let me clone this document into two and let me hand it to two different teams. Here you go, Hello Games. This is No Man's Sky. Here you go, Bethesda. This is, Starfield. Space Game. And No Man's Sky, Hello Games made No Man's Sky and Bethesda made Starfield. The design doc was identical, but two different teams, two different aesthetics, two different. They come to it with two different experiences, right? Those who say that the comparison to No Man's Sky is unfounded have not played No Man's Sky.
Right.
Now, let me establish where I come from with No Man's Sky. It started bare bones, true. The trailer was an idea of where they wanted to go rather than what was available when they first came out. True. Get it. But No Man's Sky, then and even now, is way ahead of its time. It is an achievement of monumental proportions by an indie studio.
Right.
No one has ever made a game like this game, ever. And I don't think anybody will for a long time. They used a mathematical algorithm equation to create 18 quintillion worlds.
Sheesh.
They invented a universe, a procedurally generated universe. Okay? And what did that come with? Janky bugs, the procedural generation sometimes made very weird things appear. It wasn't, and what is Bethesda doing? They're taking more of a curated approach. They're bespoke creating cities and worlds in addition to the procedural generation as well, right? And if you've noticed, a lot of games are now following the same method. It's open world exploration. You're gathering resources. You're building bases, right? So you can look at it as, it's a clone of No Man's Sky. Or you can also look at it just like Elite Dangerous, just like No Man's Sky, and many Star Citizen, EVE Online, and I wouldn't even say Mass Effect, because Mass Effect is more heavy in the cinematic direction, and we don't know. Starfield may also very well lean in that way, but what we see right now, it seems like it's joining the genre of open world exploration games.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's going to have a mixture of both. Just knowing how Bethesda operates.
Yes, and exactly, that's exactly my point. When you get out of the ship in No Man's Sky, you're still in No Man's Sky because this is an indie studio. Even though they've hit amazing heights, they're still an indie studio. So they can create 18 quintillion planets and create and build an entire universe. But when you get out of the ship, all of a sudden the limits of the budget show themselves. They've come a long way since then. Yeah. They got mechs in there. They're doing so well now. But the limits show themselves. That's the difference between what No Man's Sky did and what Starfield's going to do. Because Starfield, literally, Bethesda has Skyrim already built and ready to go, right? They have the experience for Skyrim and creating stories in an open world way better than most do. So the minute you get out of Starfield's ship, it becomes Skyrim in space.
Right.
Right? Is there a comparison to be made with No Man's Sky? No doubt. And I think when you make that comparison, that is like to Starfield's credit. Because what No Man's Sky did cannot be recreated easily. It's an exploration, yes. And one thing that people must also understand, Bethesda's games aren't one genre. Bethesda's games are multiple genres where you can fulfill your dream, if you will, your simulation dream, and be immersed in that sandbox. So if they were making a game that was in a modern city with cars and whatnot, the driving would be not necessarily Forza, right? But it would be GTA. And then you'd get out and you'd be in Skyrim. And then you'd fly helicopters. Then you'd be GTA. Like, they put multiple genres in their games because they don't want you to hit a brick wall as to your actions or what you'll be doing in the middle of the game. Right. So is there a No Man's Sky-ness in that game? 100% there is. 100%. Anyone who says there isn't is not seeing it. 100%. And I think they've done No Man's Sky better than No Man's Sky in many aspects. They fall short in certain places, but in many aspects they've exceeded what No Man's Sky did. But then, for good measure, they throw in all of Skyrim in there the minute you get off the boat.
Right.
The minute you get off
one of the most
you know what I'm saying?
One of the most revered Western RPGs of all.
Western RPGs of all time. They add RPG systems on top. Then they up the ante and not just let you buy ships, you can build your ships.
Hell, you can steal ships.
They take it. You can steal ships. Just like No Man's Sky, you can now be a pirate, you can be a diplomat, you can do a lot of similarities there, right? My problem is I don't like people making that comparison as a pejorative because it's not.
That's the problem.
It is not a pejorative.
That's the problem.
It's not a bad thing.
Agree. And that's the problem I had with the whole thing. You see, like a lot of people are like me, where it's clear you can see the influence. But the influence is multifaceted because it's not just No Man's Sky.
It's not just No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky stops at the world.
That's right.
You know, but this is Bethesda.
That's right. So that's why I say it's Mass Effect because of the RPG elements. It's Elite Dangerous, like you pointed out. It's all these different things. It's even more than that. It's just space exploration because it's only so much you can do within that thing, right? You're gonna have crossovers in that type of setting.
You can definitely see that it's like I said, it looks like they took the design doc of No Man's Sky or this space exploration game, this is same one, and gave it to two different teams and saw how they made it.
It's fair. So it looks. I'll say this. I say that I wouldn't doubt that they had some influence, right? I don't think that's a negative because everything. I don't think so either. Everything in this world is influenced off something. No matter how original you might think it is, it's influenced off something that gave somebody a something. That goes from music to anything creative.
Anything else. That's it. So nothing's new under the sun.
Absolutely. That's the saying. So my problem is, it's like you said, the way they're using it in a pejorative way. They're using it to bludgeon Starfield. And
Starfield.
You know who's doing it. Not only are the Sony fans, but the problem I had, and it's like somebody said in the chat, IGN had 2 hit pieces already against Starfield. It's like, why do you have to do that? I was watching a video of Mr. Matty Plays. Great video, by the way. If you all haven't watched Mr. Matty Plays, give him a check.
Yeah, he's huge Bethesda fan.
Big time.
Your number one resource for
big
that
time.
Stuff.
I love watching his videos for that reason. But he spoke on this and he gave me some insight I wasn't even aware of. So, now, mind you, and this is the problem I have again with the media. So, No Man's Sky, great. It has this quintillion planets it procedurally generates. That's a positive. Starfield, 1,000+ planets.
Shout out to Mr. Boomstick Excel. Welcome,
What's up,
sir.
Boom? Starfield, 1,000+ planets procedurally generated. Oh, I don't think I have time for that. That's all negative. I'm like, wait a minute. Now it's a bad thing that you have more to do in a game. And not more to do.
And No Man's Sky wins best ongoing game 2 years in a row.
You see what I mean?
Because it started as a cautionary tale, and it has become so magical in execution today.
And kudos to them. And
kudos to them.
Starfield's going to be a 10-year game. I'm more than expecting it to be that.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on, the mod alone.
Think of the mods. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to have me a Millennium Falcon. I'm almost going to, if they don't have those mods to the level enough where I can get a Millennium Falcon on my Xbox, I'll play it on my PC and do it. So my thing is the narrative changes. So No Man's Sky, yes, it's ambitious. You get to travel to all these quintillion procedurally generated places. Starfield, 1,000+ planets. I don't like that sound of that.
And I kind of get why people were with the comparison of that, because when No Man's Sky first released and their quintillion planets seemed to be more barren, right? And because of that, No Man's Sky is going to be that comparison. That means you're going to have a bunch of planets that are barren.
And that's why
those are coming from people who haven't played it recently.
But that's what I got to give you the knowledge of, right? Because I was watching Mr. Matty Plays just before I joined in with you. And he gave me something I didn't even realize and know. I'm wondering if people in the chat know this too. Procedural generated games are not new. Even No Man's Sky is not new with that.
No.
Did you know that Elder Scrolls Oblivion was procedurally generated?
Yes.
I did not know that. The technology. I did not know that. And mind you, that is one of my Mount Rushmore games of all time, period. I'm talking about top 4. That's one of them. And I did not know that Bethesda, the way they do it, they'll procedurally generate the landscape and then they'll build on top of it. So that's probably more than likely what they're going to do here.
What they're doing here. Yes.
So now people were worried like it'll be barren. And then I have to elaborate. Yes. Well, it's space. Do you expect every single planet to be built
to be full of life and stuff?
No. Right. What sense does that make? So that's why I mean, people will go out of their way to find a negative, and that's what they were doing with Starfield. That's what I disliked. So the No Man's Sky thing, it's not a negative that it has similarities or that it's maybe inspired by it in some ways. But when you use it as a negative to try to tear down Starfield, that's the problem I have.
Highly unnecessary.
Journalists did it.
I agree with you.
I've seen many journalists do it. I've seen IGN is the king of that and then try to hide their hand. Throw a rock, hide their hand. Oh, we don't like console warring, but you do console warring tweets and things like that and videos every time. Yeah. It doesn't add up. And that's the part I dislike. And then mind you, had Starfield, if Bethesda had never been acquired by Microsoft, you would have never seen those types
this
of
would have been an Xbox, this would have been a PlayStation exclusive.
Exactly. Not only that, but it would have been you would have saw nothing but praise and wonder and excitement. Yeah. But now that it's Xbox, it's negative spins all the time.
Don't even give them necessarily even the attention. They don't deserve that attention. They're highly unnecessary. Yeah. But what I will say is the reason why No Man's Sky gets the praise it does and it deserves that praise is they didn't create the procedural generation, but they literally tied their procedural generation to a mathematical equation that gets to the quintillion number. And they tied a planet to every single number in that chain, right? So every time you bring up that same mathematical equation, you're building your planets. And they put that at the center of the game engine. So when you build it, even though it's procedurally generated, by the virtue of those numbers always repeating and being the same, it puts the planets back in that area. And what makes this procedural generation so cool in that is some of the planets are completely tech heavy. The whole planet has electricity for sky, and every tree happens to be like an actual made of glass, like really weird like interpretations of what a planet would be because the computer thought about it and humans did not. Right. I do understand like the pejorative comparison that some people tried to make, but that's because when No Man's Sky first pulled the trigger, they were a small budget, small team, small budget, huge potential, and it took many years for it to reach the full like scope of where they wanted to go. And I don't foresee Starfield starting that low, right? This is Starfield by Bethesda. They're going to start at that high clip with the AAA from jump. And that's just one piece of the puzzle, because the minute you get out, there's dialogue trees for days, which No Man's Sky could not even hope to get to. There's so much more. There's the fighting aspect of it is actually really good. It looks like they may have gotten help from some of their first person shooter teams to assist them in the shooting from what I see in Starfield. You know, the shooting seems to have gotten a lot better than any of the older Bethesda games that I've seen them try and do, like better than Fallout, right? They use the VAT system to try to hide the fact that they don't have really great shooting mechanics. This one looks like they don't need the VAT system. The shooting mechanics seems great. You know what I mean?
It does. You know, the only problem I have with their shooting mechanics, if we can go to a bit of a breakdown.
Yeah. Obviously, it seems hollow. They still need to work on that. That's obviously frames per second needs work.
Clearly.
It's stuck at 30 frames, which is a problem for me because we're in the next gen. There should be nothing stuck at 30 frames.
I heard it was 12. We heard
it's operating at less, but that's because that I will take. Those who have criticism for that, I'll be like, look, it's not a release product. Right. Judge it on the release product. We don't live in a world where everybody pixel peeps a trailer. True. Like, you know what I mean? It's a trailer for a game that has not been released yet. When the game is out in full and you're playing it and it's hitting 25 frames per second, righteous smoke all abound. But for now, I'd say pump the brakes a little.
I'm with you 100%. And my only thing is, like I said, just and that's why I'm not heavy on like the negatives. I'm all positive. Starfield was my game of every show. Period. Yeah. It was that impressive to me. I know Bethesda's, and that's another thing. People were like, "How can you be hyped for a dang game you haven't seen?" Because I know Bethesda's pedigree. It's the same when I hear about Insomniac. I know.
Thanks for checking us out, Pyro. All right, Pyro. Next time. Thank you so much, brother. Man.
And that's the same thing with like an Insomniac or Naughty Dog. Yeah, if you tell me, "Hey, they're making this," I'm going to be excited because I know I'm going to get something great. Bethesda typically, and you know, I always try to use the scapegoat. Well, Fallout 76. I'm tired of that because one, that was not Todd Howard in the main.
That was not
team.
Todd Howard's team, of course.
That's right. Yep. So that needs to go away. I'm tired of that little scapegoat argument. That's one. Great Bethesda gives you great quality, genre-defining games. Let's just be real. Call it what it is. Yep. So I expect those great types of things. Now we have that in a genre I appreciate specifically from not just Western RPGs, but in space. So I like spacefaring stuff. And I'm an Aquarius. I don't know. Maybe I'm a star child. I don't know. But I love that. You know what I mean? I love that type of
me
stuff.
Too.
You know,
see, some people are more swords and shields and all that. Right. I'm more space combat. I'm more, technologist. I'm sorry. I'm cyberpunk. I am take it to space. Give me a spaceship. So No Man's Sky spoke to me, right?
Absolutely.
It was the potential of a dream, and it looks like Starfield is the Batman Begins of No Man's Sky. They're taking it for real. Nice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're taking it to the next level. Yeah. But basically telling the same story, which is fine by me.
That's the beautiful thing.
Expounding on it.
That's the beautiful thing about it, because I had a debate with a buddy on Twitter, and he was like, "Oh, No Man's Sky is more ambitious." I'm like, in some ways, but if you actually look at what you're getting with Starfield, not just from the 1,000+ planets, whatever, the 100 systems that you get to go through, but look at all the things you can do that you cannot do in No Man's Sky. It has a heavy, you have a heavy narrative game right here. 40+, they already confirmed 40+ hours just for the main game alone, just for the main missions. That doesn't speak to the side missions.
To be fair, No Man's Sky now has a pretty robust campaign itself, and they're also doing it, but they're still a very much budget conscious. They're still, and it's good and it's very interesting and all that, but it's not a Bethesda game. It's not that full narrative driven, go anywhere, do anything, speak to people everywhere. Not the same.
Heavy dialogue, heavy heavy consequence thing. No, Bethesda's going to have all of that. You're going to have different endings. You're going to have things that people that die, people that can live based off your decisions, all of this type of stuff. Exactly. We have 200,000+ lines of dialogue, and and we got to silence the protagonist again. So that is out of the way. You're going to be able to choose your own dialogue and go from there, just like the classic Bethesda games. This game is ambitious in ways that No Man's Sky can't be, and it's probably budget reasons, of course. But I'm not focused on just being able to travel to a planet. And build
for those who are clowning it. Remember we heard the narrative about, and you can't get in your ship and go into space. That's because you can in No Man's Sky, right? But No Man's Sky is built a different game for that purpose of being able to, you're a dude on the ground, you get in your ship, and you can literally hit a button and real time go into space whenever you want. Go to planets and then land whenever you want, whereas this one will be more cutscene inspired.
Exactly.
But that's because No Man's Sky just has that, and that's it. That's it. Right? Whereas this one, you'll be enjoying your space flight. You'll be doing the dogfighting. You'll be doing, and then you'll land, get into someplace, go talk to somebody, have relationships, get a job, go rob somebody.
Go shoot all
out of the spaceship.
Exactly.
Shoot out all
the dogfight situation, by the way. I love that section of the trailer, by the way. But also just to say, look at the heavy customization. Look at I'm talking about not just from your characters, but you get to improve your weapons with customization.
So on that
ship building.
On that, Umbra, I hope they've done a better job, because one thing I don't like about Fallout is the aesthetic, that whole dirty old school, new school thing they have going. Yeah. Where even in the world where you can build your own ships and everything else, or in the Fallout, you used to be able to build your own. towns, if you will, right?
Town bases, right.
But it's always like, you can build your own town, but then you have to sleep on a dirty mattress. Like, they only give you certain options. You know what
I mean, you
like,
were in Fallout, so I mean, it was nuclear.
You know, I want to be able to build real things instead of this pseudo grimy always that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
think it'll be an issue from what we saw in the trailer when they showed you build these outposts. Clear, and you can assign people to it, which was
everyone's idle Goro. Absolutely right. Star Citizen, but a game and not a scheme. Yes,
right.
The scale is like, brought down a bit to the normal man. You're absolutely right.
Is crazy
absolutely
too. Right.
Yes,
but it's actually a game you'll actually get to play in your lifetime.
Yes, rather than the scope creep the game for 20 years.
Exactly. But no, I don't think we'll have that problem here. Just looking at the aesthetics of it. I know some people could probably take away, it's not as colorful as I want it to be, but they purposely set out to do that to kind of give it a grounded kind of color palette, and I'm fine with it. It still has enough color in it for me. I understand how they approach their games, and somebody showed an image from, I believe, Fallout 4 compared to the character customization in this game. It's like night and day.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're so much better.
Yep.
So much better. The only problem is we don't live in a vacuum. So although they are so much better, when you compare it to Horizon Forbidden West, for example, it's completely different, right? It still looks lackluster, but that's because people don't understand that the scope of Horizon is far different than Starfield.
Facts.
And they have to expend their resources wisely. You can see the ends of the map in Forbidden West. Right. Presumably Starfield, that'll be much harder to do.
Mind you,
right?
You get to travel all across any planet you land on. That's impressive alone right there for me.
That is No Man's Sky level impressive.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't know. I think, and I don't want to down No Man's Sky. But the problem, I don't like when people try to use something like that to
they're being pejorative in it. And that's why whenever I have this conversation with people, the first thing I say is, how long have you played No Man's Sky? When did you play No Man's Sky? Because if you've played it recently and you've played it long enough, then you know what I'm talking about when I say this comparison isn't a bad thing. Right? They've reached the pinnacle. No Man's Sky has reached the pinnacle. They made so much money, they've released multiple DLCs for free. And they still continue to add to that game. Right.
Yep.
I would say it is 25% aspect of what Starfield will be, but that's what they showed. So that's why people are judging it. Right. There'll be way more aspects to Starfield than just the flying and the No Man's Sky aspects. There'll be far more indoors and everywhere else. We've already established that. Right. Whereas, people are just, all Bethesda has to show us is what they showed us. And based on that, people are using that to judge them. I don't think it's something to be taken seriously, if you will, and I'm pretty excited for what this will be when it comes out. Yeah. My only criticism, and this is because of, shout out to Asa from Game On Daily. I know he's probably not watching this right now, but
what's up, Asa?
He and I share that same, and he was on your show yesterday. So yes, indeed, he and I share that same exact sentiment. Because this is now a Microsoft studio, you will not see this game in VR, and that's a freaking travesty. I will hack it. There are software pieces out there that'll make it work, but when Bethesda was like full bore supporting VR, putting Skyrim in VR, things like that, man, you can live in that game. That game is amazing in VR. And unfortunately, we don't see a world where that will happen for this game. But that's because, hey, it is what it is. Microsoft is not in that game. But before we move on to one last conversation before we end this podcast, I will ask you, Umbra, by and large, the Microsoft conference, I know they didn't give you everything that you wanted.
Right.
But I did hear your take on it yesterday, and I want you to reiterate it here. What did you think of the Microsoft show?
Overall,
grade-wise.
Overall, if I had to grade it, it would be an 8 out of 10. And for me, the reason why is much like the guys in the chat where they said, Pentiment did speak to me. Where Pentiment didn't speak to me, but the diversity of what they offered, seeing gameplay actually from beginning to end, for the most part, like 7% of it, the showcase was gameplay. Now, that's what we called for. This is what fans said we wanted. We wanted gameplay. Not CGI. We got that. We didn't want games that's 5 and 6 years out. We got that. I cannot fault and put a negative on Microsoft for that when they met what we asked for. Some fans were like
changing the tune. Well, they should have shown it 18 months. They should have shown it 2 years. It's like, you just said you wanted to see within few months coming up. What did you want?
Umbra, you are fighting to replace my co-host because your segues are on point, good sir. On point.
Call me Segue Umbra.
He is Segue Umbra today. He's on that Segway. You just can't see him. He's on it. He's riding around right now. So on that point of what people are saying, I kept saying on this show, and this is the conversation that I've wanted to have with on the show today. This is the main topic of why I felt it was important to have you. And it's unfortunate that my man, Mr. Everborn Saga, wasn't here for this, because I think we've been having this conversation for quite some time now, and this is the point of the conversation that I want to have. Now that we've seen what they have to offer us, we heard the news stories. I said they seemed overly confident. They seemed very confident in their execution. That's why they announced the delays the way they did, right? That's why you saw dribs and drabs show up at the Keighley show, at Devolver, at all these other peripheral shows, and then not in their own show. In hindsight, I think they were overly confident because they didn't hit it the way I wanted them to hit it. But I agree with you that it's an 8 out of 10 show for me as well, right? And I'm looking in the chat. We did a poll. The poll was also the same way. By and large, most people B, they gave it.
Yep.
Right?
I think that's fair.
But when PlayStation gives you that shadiness, I'm here with that righteous smoke. Mm-hmm. Xbox, this whole thing of, we know we have nothing for you for the calendar year 2022, so we're going to kind of do a bait and switch and say fiscal year 2022.
Right.
I take offense to that. One. Secondly, now that the shows are said and done, and we see that they have nothing of substance for you in calendar 2022 of a first-party nature, let's be clear, because I'm still playing Shredder's Revenge. I'm still playing a bunch of these other games. So when I say all of this, this is not smoke I'm delivering on a high scale like, oh, the sky is falling. The platform is bright. We're gonna be enjoying ourselves for a long time to come. I don't think that's a problem, right? I don't think that's a problem at all.
Right.
But can we now give them the righteous smoke when talking about their leadership? Because game delays happen. No one denies that. No one can say, oh, they're bad because they delayed Redfall and Starfield. Of course they should have done that. Because if the game wasn't ready, it wasn't ready. Right? But when that happens, that's when the booty jumps in the mix. Forgive me, I had to do that one. And all these other leaders in the mix, right? Because it's their job at that point to go, oh, plan B didn't work? Here's plan C.
Right.
Here you go. Here's plan D. Here you go. That's what's justifying their bills. That's what's justifying them being paid the big bucks. Mm-hmm. And for calendar year 2022, I don't think they did that.
It's looking barren like the planets. It's looking barren like the planets people complained about with Starfield.
It's barren like No Man's Sky at release.
Right. I agree with you 100%. That's something I said on the podcast the other day. Because Hargeet was in the chat and he was like, making a case for Xbox. Well, they gave us 5 games, and what about?
And I'm sorry not to cut you. I see Pragmatic Eagle saying it makes sense from a fiscal. I'm not saying it doesn't. And for the record, I think moving forward, the 12-month approach, perfect.
Agreed.
Don't change that.
I agree.
Don't play the pony show. Continue on the 12-month approach, because that means every time we see you, you got stuff that's fresh, ready to go. Right. I think that's great, right? So I agree with that. I just disagree on the fact of it's almost like they realized that they didn't have anything for you in the calendar year, so they had to bait and switch to fiscal year.
Yeah.
And that to me is the issue. And for you, Lucius Augustus, I completely agree with you. You're absolutely right. They do have games for you. They have Pentiment for you this year. They have Grounded 1.0 for you this year. They might have Deathloop for you after September if they're allowed to talk about it. All that is true, right? But if the last AAA game, you have 23 studios, 32 teams. If the last AAA first-party game you released was 15 months between the next one, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Because that's 32 separate teams. There's 50 plus some odd codes being thrown around about games in development. No one is saying push a game. No one is saying, oh, how could a game be delayed? But if you got 32 teams and you can have a 15-month drought, someone needs to look at what you're doing.
Something is wrong there.
Right?
That's
and it doesn't necessarily even mean to be first party, right?
Yeah.
PlayStation's out there being aggressive, right? Doing what they got to do. They got exclusives just by virtue of being PlayStation, because let's be honest here, the jury's still out on whether or not we're getting Ragnarok. There's opposing reports everywhere, right? Until I hear it from PlayStation themselves, I still think it's 50-50. So there may very well be a world where there is no first-party output from PlayStation either. But guess what they're doing? Right. They got Square battening down the hatches for them. They got this company. This is Plan B. That means their leadership is literally doing their best to obfuscate the fact that their first party is lacking this year. You know what I'm saying?
Smoke and mirrors, yeah.
Exactly. I need to see the old smoke and mirrors from Xbox, and I don't think I'm seeing that this year.
So listen to this. We had a really strong space. I had a talk. I think it was I titled it Xbox's 12-month plan, wise or wrong. And part of that space talked about not only the approach of 12 months out. I agree with you and Pragmatic. I think that's a smart way. They should keep going that way.
They should keep going that way. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. The problem I have with Microsoft and
doing it this year,
not even really just this year. It's the lack of aggression when it comes to, like we spoke about before, with half stepping when it comes to money heading. Just go all out. 1, 2. To be fair though, if they are as aggressive as PlayStation specifically, they would get a lot more fire and vitriol than PlayStation does. I
because
understand it.
They have all the monies.
I get it.
PlayStation doesn't have all the money, so they can be aggressive.
I'm gonna tell you, I get it, and I don't care. I want them to be the bully on the field. I want them to be the bully. Stop playing.
You want the dude with the biggest arms, who's the tallest man in any room, to walk up to you and just punch you in the face. That's what you want.
Knock him right in the mouth. Just punch him right in the mouth. I'm sorry to say it, but this nice guy thing, I know we've all felt it. PlayStation does not play nice.
No, they don't. But that's because they're the small guy in the room, right? They have to be that way.
The quote unquote, right. But marketing wise and everything else, they're the number one. So I get tired of Microsoft kind of trying to play the nice guy thing. Listen, nobody sees you as the nice guy. Even though they're seen as the underdog in gaming in some ways, they are not the underdog as far as companies go. So people do not see Microsoft as in a nice way, in most views when it comes to gaming.
And that's the reason why they themselves spend so much time on their image, because they know it's a fine line for them. They can be easily the evil empire at a moment's notice.
And in some ways, they still get that. So when they acquire people, that thought comes right back up. Listen, they're going to acquire more people.
Yes,
stop the whole image game, because people are not going to ever see you as the nice guy. Just be who you are, acquire who you're going to acquire, and money head where you need to for us. Because as a consumer, I'm not going to argue against you doing something that's going to benefit me. So when people are like, oh, you want them to grab all these studios? Yes, because that means they come to Game Pass. That means I do not have to spend extra if I don't want to. Or if I choose to, I will, because I know it'll be on my platform. The problem with games like Final Fantasy being exclusive is I know that's a lack on the Xbox side of things. Sony never really has that issue when it comes to third party. You know that 9 times out of 10, that game will be on Sony's platform. We have worry when it comes to Xbox side of things. Will it come on Xbox? We don't know. Microsoft needs to stop playing the nice guy and money.
You know why I think that is, though? You know why I think that PlayStation, and this is also another unpopular opinion, why I think PlayStation always gets the benefit, but Xbox is always in question, because the gaming space as a whole has made the holy grail Japanese games.
I agree with that.
And in that world, PlayStation always wins, because guess what? They're a Japanese studio.
I agree.
If all of a sudden the world shifts and the Western offerings become as valuable in the eyes of consumers, all of a sudden PlayStation won't get as much pole position or prestigious position as they always get.
You know, I can agree to that to a degree. We had a point in the Xbox with its history, of course, with the 360, where Microsoft was doing exactly what I'm talking about, where they were aggressive.
Well, but that's also because during the 360 era, they had a whole year to themselves.
That is true too. But even
right?
beyond
that built in the fan base.
It did, but beyond that, though, even beyond the fanfare and fan base, they were doing everything right as far as bringing exclusives to it. They money had it. I'm talking about from JRPGs to everything else. So all of that, even building their own with Lost Odyssey, and wait a minute, I'm saying
and
right?
Blue Dragon.
And Blue Dragon, that's
You're
right.
Absolutely right.
So things like that, they secured a lot of deals. They need to do the same going forward now. If you
and that's my criticism. That's my criticism. Yes.
So go all out.
I need to see them. Yep. I need to see them out there. Our plan A is not working. We have a good plan B. Yes, you heard me say it, and I did say it, and that is true, that you might still see Gotham Knights, right? But they can't cannibalize sales, so you won't see it until much later. If this was PlayStation, first off, the reason why it's not fair is if this was PlayStation, first off, the money that they would have asked for it to be exclusive would be much less because yes, and that's what gets us there. And secondly, PlayStation would have been like, you know what? Screw that. I want it now. I want to be able to announce it now.
Exactly.
Right? Whereas Xbox goes, Xbox will go magnanimous. You don't even have to give us an exclusivity deal. You can bring it anywhere you want. You don't even have to tell anybody that you're going to bring it everywhere you want. Just give us Game Pass, day and date, and we'll call it even, which works for them, right?
Does.
Because a AAA game that is Game Pass day and date becomes a Game Pass game, an Xbox game, just by de facto of people's mindset, right?
That's true.
But if you don't have all of these, like all of your guns in the chamber, bullets in the chamber, ready to play, then keep the TMNT Shredder's Revenge news on your main stage.
Agreed.
Keep the routine news on your main stage. And make sure that you pay that extra money to get Gotham Knights day and date and say it on your platform. Yes, it means it'll cannibalize sales. It may cannibalize sales, but you'll pay more to offset that because you're being aggressive.
I'll go further than that. Remember how they had Deathloop and of course, Ghostwire Tokyo. They could have ended that by paying Sony back the money.
Oh yeah, they could have paid off the deal.
Any contract. If that were me, done that. I would have like, here's your money back. Thank you for trying. Here's Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop on the Xbox for Game Pass for our people here.
Well, but Amy Hood and them, the money men at Microsoft are like, look, we don't want to because the penalties that you pay to cancel a contract that you don't fulfill is unnecessary money, right? It's unnecessary money to be spent. So since there's a reason why they are a $2 trillion company and they're considered to be one of the most valuable companies in the world, they don't, even though they have all the monies, they don't spend money unwisely. Yeah, right? They don't tend to spend money unwisely. So that's the reason why they're like, look, these games will come to Game Pass anyway. Let us be good because, again, it works in their favor to fulfill contracts. Because if they go and they have to go stand in front of regulatory bodies, they don't want to be the company that's paying out and canceling contracts. They don't want to be that company.
I get that to a degree, but I feel like because of that, it also paints them in we're being the Mr. Good Guy, nice goody two shoe. And as fans of it and as people, consumers of it, it makes us feel like second class citizens. That's the problem.
So, Mr. Umbra, you have once again threaded the final needle, sir. Congratulations. You are the champion of this show because that segue, even though you didn't know it, was magnificent. Okay?
Thank you.
It brings me to the segue here. And those who have watched this show know exactly what I'm talking about. Mr. Everborn Saga has had a theory about what is going to happen this year. And even though I have fought him tooth and nail, and he wanted to be on the show for this very moment, and he's not going to be here, so hopefully he watches this later. Even though I still don't believe that why he says it is where it is, ultimately we are where we are, exactly where he predicted. So I got to kind of give him his flowers a little bit, okay? Yeah. His notion, his theory, exactly to the point you were making right now is it benefits them to be the brunt of all the jokes. It benefits them to be discombobulating in the mind of the consumer. It benefits them to have people see them. Oh, we almost released it, but now 2 of our marquee titles are slated for next year. Not because they're discombobulated or they're bumbling, but because as bad as it looks, it will help them in the argument they have to make against the FTC that they are not taking over gaming. Look at us. We can barely get a game out. Everyone hates us at this point.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And although, and before y'all start throwing pitchforks in the chat, I don't agree with him because there's legal ramifications to that. These are legal companies, right? These are publicly traded companies. And if you purposely hold back benefits for your company, you're devaluing your stock. Devaluating your stock. And there's an argument to be made that some people who are far more higher in the hierarchy, who own a lot more stock than I do in Microsoft, can sit there and make an actual legal argument and say, hey guys, y'all are ruining my investment on purpose for your benefit later. That's not allowed, right? That could be, if they are found, hey, by the way, this game is done, everything's righteous, but we're pretending it's not done just to look bad so that the regulatory bodies get off our butt about it, right? If that's what they're doing, which is kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, what Everborn is saying. They're doing it on purpose, and the minute that the ABK deal closes, you'll see all these things in quick succession get released. I don't agree with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I mean, I know it's just a theory, so I'm not going to get mad at him for that.
But look around, though. Look at the landscape. He said, look, when this is all said and done, you'll know I'm right because for calendar year 2022, they got nothing for you. Right. And they won't even try to hide it. They won't even try to, give you a plan B. Oh, we got Bethesda. We got this, what do you call it? WB game or whatever. They won't even try. It'll just be like, hey, it's going to be great soon. What about 2022? It's going to be great soon. What about 2022? It's going to be great soon. You know what I'm saying? And he's right. Here we are. You know what I mean? So as much as I hate giving him the credit, what's going on here, right? It looks like they're doing it on purpose.
I guess it could feel that way, but I mean, there's no way to confirm it, right? But
there is definitely no way to confirm it. Yes,
I don't know.
And when I basically clowned him and I told him he was smoking something bubonic at that point when he was saying this, he's like, "Mark my words. Watch the ABK deal either finish early, and then in quick succession, a bunch of games will just start showing up."
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, them appearing on the stage like we saw, it leads credence to what he said. So it's going to happen. But I don't know. And then we already heard from the attorney saying it's pretty much over that hill. It's really close, So we know it's coming.
And then you saw them basically giving up the one thing you think no tech company would ever do, which is, hey, anybody that wants to be a union, yeah, we'll recognize you. No problem.
Right. That's a good point.
That is the holy grail for all of those senators that were kowtowing and doing all their blah, blah, blah. They literally, with that one move, they took all the venom out of your teeth and they just took it and they went, oh, yeah, you are now dethroned. You're declawed. What you got now?
Warren. Right. Sit on down.
What you got now? What you got to say? They want to be a union? Go for it. We're here.
Right. We're on your side. We deliver
so
for
that
you.
Tells you all of a sudden they got to go, yeah, but you guys weren't good, though. We gave you exactly what you want.
Right.
What you want? What else you got?
You might be
know what
right.
I'm saying?
I think that's a good point, actually, to be fair. I don't know if they're going to play or if they're so Machiavellian where they're like, oh, we're just going to play the good guy.
Everborn thinks they're playing 4D chess. I don't agree,
so.
But that's what he says.
I don't know. I mean, I know Phil and the guys behind them. I know they're intelligent. I know they're super smart. I just don't know if that's the case. Again, the whole plan.
4D chess, man. 4D chess.
I guess you never know. I can't write it off, but at the same time,
I refuse to believe it.
Yeah.
Even if nothing else, but for the fact that, damn it, Everborn Saga, you're not going to get one of your weird theories through. It's not right. It's not. Nope. Nope. It's a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's a very shady coincidence, but it's still a coincidence.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. Like I said, they are trying to play the good guy in some ways. So he could be right. That does fit in line theory-wise with the whole, look, we the good guys. See, we still allow them to, we respected the contractual obligations.
Call of Duty? Sure. That'll say multi-plat. We don't care about.
Oh, yes. Everybody gets to play.
Because think about it, right? The reason why they are ready to make anybody you want to join a union? We'll recognize you. No big deal. You know why? Activision didn't want to recognize it because they have the salt mines. They have a vested interest in keeping the Call of Duty salt mines open and throwing as many developers in it as possible.
Yes.
We've already seen signs that Microsoft doesn't want to keep that alive.
Right.
They don't want to keep the salt mines alive. They want to put Call of Duty on a break.
Exactly. By
That's
yearly
right.
Schedule and everything else. You're right.
That's right. They want to take those people out of the salt mines and go, hey, what do you want to build? So in that world, hey, you want to be a union? Go for it, right? We're already catching flack left and right for our existing studios taking the time they need. Right. What about you? Sure, why not? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good points. I mean, I can't argue against that. I don't know if that's the case or if they're taking the, like you said, like he's pointing out, maybe short term, they're taking that brunt. And
they know that the short-term L will lead to long-term gains eventually.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's possible. I don't know to be certain. I can't argue against the theory because it does line up in some ways, especially the whole good guy playing a good guy act that they're putting on.
Pyro's not gone yet. He's here for one last time. He says his console is updating, but with Everborn, a broken clock is right twice a day.
That's right, Pyro. One of those crazy theories has to land at one point, right?
But yes, it is very interesting that we've been going back and forth for months now, back and forth on all this. I'm like, look, if they don't have any calendar releases for us, yes, Pentiment, yes, Grounded 1.0, and maybe Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo before the year ends, maybe, right? But if they don't have something new and exciting for the consumer base from a third-party AAA perspective, I consider that an L. I don't like using the youngins parlance, but I consider that, it makes it even more egregious when you guys go, oh, we meant fiscal rather than calendar year. You know what I mean? Like that really points out the fact that you guys see that the L is on your forehead right now. You see it. You know what I'm saying? And basically what Everborn is saying is, and that works for them in their favor. Which it does.
I can see that. And of course, because of the acquisition situation, that the people already see myself as the bad guy, like I said. So I can see that.
If you happen to be the biggest, baddest dude in any room, right? And people are concerned about you, what do you say? You say, oh, my arm's in a sling. I can't fight right now. Not so good. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as the cops leave, mother ever better step to me. You know what I'm saying? Right. They're waiting for the cops to leave the backyard, which is the regulatory bodies, and then the wallet comes out again.
Right. The cops are gone now. What you gonna do now?
What you gonna do now, player? Right? These $2 trillion guns is here and they're out for you. Right. You know what I'm saying? So although I think he's ridiculous, the theory is sound. It really is sound.
Sound in some ways. I can't argue against it, so I can't put it down like, nah, he's wrong. No, it makes some sense. It seems like some truth in there. Maybe.
But I think, you know what? Ultimately, I think because he isn't here to defend himself, I think we can all agree that Pyro was absolutely right. A broken clock is right 2 times a day. Even ridiculous, unfounded notions and theories that literally are pulled out of the backside can also have some theory, some realm in truth sometimes that is serendipitous in its nature than anything else. But he can take that victory walk, that victory lap for a small time if he so chooses. I still don't believe it.
I do remember one thing he said that even in chats I've seen him say where he was like, 2022 just accepted. Now this was before the showcase. He's like, don't expect any first party games. He's like,
you see where I'm going with it? Yeah. That's why I'm just like, son of a.
So,
he was so right too.
He was right about that, and that part surprised me too, because I thought in my
nothing.
Head,
they would at least try.
In my head, I'm like,
but they didn't.
Hellblade 2 might release this year, y'all. That's what I'm thinking, but nope, nothing.
Well, no, I'm not even saying like release Hellblade 2, but if you really want people's perception of you to change, show us Avowed. Show us things that aren't ready. Just show us something to let us know, hey guys, we got you. Even though we're even though you're unhappy with us, trust us, we got you. They didn't even think about doing that. Nothing. So that lends more right to the theory, they kind of did it on purpose.
Supposedly there was cut content.
Later, Risk It. Talk to you later,
All
sir.
right, Risk It. See you. So there was apparently there was a rumor now that there was cut content because Machine Games tweeted about appearing at the show. At least they gave the idea of it. So people are speculating either Indiana Jones or Wolfenstein was cut
or another Wolfenstein. That's right. Right.
So
and that's right. And forgive me, that's where my head was at. I was like, look, the last Wolfenstein that was created by Machine Games, like listen to that qualifier, created by Machine Games was a long time ago. The latest Wolfenstein that you've seen was not created by Machine Games, right? The last Wolfenstein by Machine Games was a AAA game ago, like length of time.
Right.
So they could have literally been building, they could be building Wolfenstein 3 this whole time, and you just never saw any hide nor hair of it.
Yeah, that's
right?
a good point.
And they've done it before, right? This is Bethesda we're talking about. They've shown you something and went, and guess what? We're announcing it here, and it's releasing in 6 months. They've done it before, right? So that's where I was like, yo, that's definitely where they're going to go. To show people that, look, we may not have the marquee title you're looking for, but trust us, we still got your back. They didn't even bother trying that. Yep. They did that with the Kojima thing for the Japanese audience. I saw that, right? They broke their own 12-month rule for Kojima.
They sure did.
They didn't even have a trailer or even a JPEG for it or a name of the game.
Not even an idea.
But they did break their rule for Kojima. They just didn't do that for anything else.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting when you really think about it. And maybe they had to put the whole narrative around the whole 12 months out thing. So, yeah.
Yep.
Because like you said, it's 23 studios, 32 teams. Somebody had to have a vertical slice of something. I just
32 teams.
I refuse to believe nobody can have a vertical slice.
Coalition, compulsion, nothing.
Yeah, that doesn't add up. Especially when we already heard from Jez and Rand, for instance, that they saw some of these
They
games.
all submitted a bunch of games.
Yeah.
Some of them, not all of them submitted, but some studios even submitted 2 different pieces of content. Right. All that has been out there. All that is known. And then what do they show? Yeah. Nothing. This wasn't the Xbox Bethesda show. Remember, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Party. This was a Bethesda show. Besides Motorsport, Bethesda. There was no Xbox games there. Yeah. Besides Motorsport.
Third party, like you said, Bethesda with a few games, and yeah, it's interesting.
It's Motorsport. Yeah. That's the only thing they had to show, right? True. So, as ridiculous as his theory is, they purposely took an L this time. It's almost like they could have done something about it, and they chose not to.
Yeah,
just saying. But okay, we've had a very interesting conversation today. I appreciate you being here. Infinite Umbra Infinite, depending on where you're finding him. Bruh, I couldn't have done this better if I tried. This was perfect. This was absolutely awesome. Ham Solo was not able to make it. Shout out to you again. Ham, we'll definitely have you back. I understand that there was some life stuff going on.
Much love, Ham.
Much love to you. No worries at all. But Infinite Umbra held it down as I expected him to. Thank you, good sir. This was awesome having this chat with you. All the people in the chat, all the people that have been keeping this conversation so lively, I appreciate. We still have 44 people still rocking with us. We are 3.5 hours in. This has been a wonderful, wonderful show. And I honestly think that we can, in general, we can have critical takes. We can, agree. We can disagree. PlayStation can say this. Xbox can say that. All this stuff. We're just gamers here. We're enjoying games. You can have your opinion. I can have my opinion. We can either be the same or we can be different. But we can still do it respectfully. And I love it because everyone in this chat is doing exactly the same thing. We've had multiple shows. We've had no need for moderators because you guys are always, top notch in the chat. So I thank you guys. Thank you so much. And as I say always, the folks in the chat, the community tend to be the ones that end up on the show, right? Just like Umbra, yourself, just like Pixel, bunch of other great community members, and I'm going to continue to work to bring more voices out here to do that. Yes, as Pragmatic says, peaceful discourse is always refreshing. I appreciate that. And that's what we try to cultivate here. So, Mr. Umbra, tell the fine people where they can find you on the internet. Tell them how they can keep up with you, when you're doing some spaces where they can continue that refreshing discourse that's done with a respectful tint.
Absolutely. Adults adulting, even though
adulting, indeed.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
We got a love
That's
for
right.
games, and that shines over any little pettiness. So that I respect
Indeed,
that.
yes.
Great audience, great crowd, great chat. And I've talked with plenty of you all before. You all can find me, of course, on Twitter under Umbra Infinite, as Brother K told you, and Infinite Umbra. You're going to find me one way or another. If you did want to care to probably add me on Xbox or PlayStation, you can find me under Super Havoc or on the PlayStation Super _ Havoc. And knowing that you all are a great crowd, great, mature people, I have no issue adding you back. And we can get some games on. We got a game night coming up tonight for Halo. Speaking of the perfect segue here on the screen here, we got a Halo community night with J-Rock coming up tonight. So you all, if you want to play, come through, join us. We have fun. We talk crazy, trash to each other, and it's all love. Kay, I gotta say this. Because you kind of led to that segue where you pointed out that you bring community members up, and that's something I love about yourself. And even Boom, I don't know if he's still here, but you guys, you specifically, you were the first podcast I had ever done, and you invited me in. You were so gracious. You walked me through things. I had the butterflies going, a little nervousness. I never done that before, and so I have to credit you not only for getting me into this now, because of course now you all can find me on the Xbox Infinite podcast on Fridays. That guy he teabagged you. Oh no.
Yeah, right. He knocked me out and then teabagged me. Son of a
yeah, and they got the win from that one too.
They clowned me on that one for sure.
Yeah. But just to say, you all can find me, of course, also on the Xbox Infinite podcast with my boy Riskit, who's the host, does a great job, and Doom Cutie and Jedi Knight Peter. We got to have you back on there sometime again, and you graced us twice, I believe, so far. So just love to you for bringing me in and bringing others in from the community, because I honestly believe this. I'm not saying this to fluff anybody's head up. I think the Xbox community is better than the PlayStation community. I do not say that to mock or belittle the PlayStation community. I just think that we as a community uplift and bring each other up in a lot of ways. We interact in different ways. You can see it in the podcasting game, from how there is no specific hate like that. Everybody appears on other people's shows. It's all love. We talk about games, and it's just a shared love of gaming, no matter what genre it is. And I appreciate that a lot in the Xbox community. And the same thing, I try to maintain that on Twitter when it comes to spaces and things like that. So if you guys ever see me in a space, don't feel afraid because you've seen other terrible spaces. Come and join mine sometime. Or if you see me co-hosting, you'll know 9 times out of 10 it's a respectable space that you can come through and just hear and talk about gaming.
I will definitely co-sign that. I'm not one to join spaces likely. If I see Infinite Umbras in the space, if I see Logicals in the space, a few key people, I'm like, all right, well, let's hear what they have to say. Because they usually cultivate some intellectual conversation. I always appreciate that. So,
absolutely.
Salute to you and your team, good sir. You're out there doing good work, and you continue doing it. I will make sure all of your information, Xbox, Twitter, the podcasts that you're on, they will all be available in the show notes when this posts up. Seriously, brother, I appreciate you here on this show. Couldn't have done it better. Mr. Everborn was not available today, so you are clutch in the hole as we need it, and you came out and you represented very, very well. So I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. I will say, for the rest of us, Mr. Everborn will be back next week. He's, as I said, out there. He's probably on the Twitter streets right now, talking all the garbage, as you know he likes to do, the slanderousness as he does. So go out there and say what's up to him. He'll be back next week. We might even do, because he hasn't gotten a chance to get his bars off about all this stuff. All his theories that seems to be coming to fruition. He needs some time to gloat. So we might actually do an impromptu show in the middle of the week at some point. Nice. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. Yes, but for him, for myself, for Mr. Umbra, we really appreciate all you folks that are in the chat, people that are listening, people that listen after the fact, people that watch on VOD. You guys continue to make this show great. When I miss a week, I feel bad because people are sending me screenshots of their phones without a new episode there. Like, what happened here? And I'm just like, damn, I need to get back on the horn. Explain yourself. I really appreciate that. You guys powered the show. You empower me. you empower us to keep pushing, keep doing better, bigger, better things. I've heard the conversations you guys want. Discord channels, we're going to get to that. You guys want other places where communities can hang out and talk. We're looking into that. We'll continue to grow, and we'll continue to take your feedback. And it's all love. It's all just bringing the community together and doing better with it. There will be conversations about potential giveaways that we're going to start doing. I want to do some custom things here and there for the 1,000th show, for the 1,000th subscribers. We're heading in that direction. Between now and then, you will start seeing some shows, some giveaways drop here and there. I will say though, I have a lot of PC codes. I know there's not too many PC gamers in here, but I have a lot of both old and new. I have more PC codes than I know what to do with. So you're going to start seeing me dropping that in my Twitters.
Toss on my way.
Yeah, Umbra over here going, because I know Steam Deck is out here in full effect. A lot of Steam Deck users out here enjoying their Steam Decks. You're going to be starting seeing me dropping a lot of codes, dropping a lot of stuff in there to try to get people to play more, just because I need these games out there, because they're in my library, literally just sitting there, and I'm never going to use them. So you'll start seeing that, and I'll start dropping more stuff here in this show as well. So I appreciate all y'all.
One last thing I want to say for you.
Yeah,
guys.
Please go ahead.
You guys deserve all your success, you and Everborn.
Oh, thank you.
So I hope that you get to 10,000. I hope you get to 100,000. I hope all of that.
Hey, brother, we're walking, and then we're running, and hopefully soon you'll see us flying, baby. That's what we're doing.
Soaring,
that's what
absolutely.
We're doing. And when we flying, we're bringing all y'all with us, because it's a community thing. That's what we're doing. That's what we're here for. So yes, until next week, or until we do our impromptu gaming session and or next podcast, where Everborn Saga will be gloating religiously and ridiculously, and I'm probably going to be muting him all day. You'll see us then. But until then, we hope you guys have an awesome weekend. We hope you're still filling in some of that backlog. You're getting some gaming in. And hey, if you see me online playing that Shredder's Revenge, jump in, man. I need more people to play with. Jump in there. I see a bunch of folks in there. You don't even have to put your headset on. Jump in. I'm calling Leonardo or Donatello. You can have anyone you want.
I got Raphael.
But until next week, you count Rafe?
Yeah,
good. We'll see you in the gaming streets. We'll talk to y'all later. Take it easy.
Later, guys.
Oh, and of course, I pressed the wrong button. Look at this. Good night, everybody.